Hello. I'm trying to
Hi.
figure out, I just reinstalled my computer and did a bunch of stuff, so not everything is ready. Like, for example, my headsets. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Nice
Hello.
to see you. And let me let people in. All right. I didn't send a reminder to people about today's class, but at some point people just need to know to come to class. But I'm not seeing people show up. Maybe I should send one. All right. Let me send this again. All right, so let me just. Here we go. Okay, I'm just gonna. There we go. That way, if anyone is still questioning the time or the link, now they have it. All right, so how y'all doing? Nice to see you, Shane. I don't see anyone else, but I'm sure you're all there. We have a few hours left. Well, I don't know about a few, but quite a few hours left for today's exam. And about 2 hours ago, I checked and there were like 5 or 6 people who still hadn't taken it. I sent you all reminders, but let me check right now, see where we're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4 people are still missing it.
I took
So
it.
if, yay, Shane, awesome. Let me see. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, everyone who took it did really, really well. Okay, so for those of you who are still wondering about it, and one of you guys is here, let me see. One of you guys is here. It's not that it's not that, let's say, scary to take it, because you have 2 chances just today, right, to take it. And then if you don't do well, you can still take it again on week 14. So don't, postpone and miss it. That would be worse. Right? Go for it. At this point, you've done everything you can do. Just go for it and use that first time as a learning practice if it didn't work, and then you have until midnight to practice the things that if you didn't like how it turned out, and then take it again before midnight. But leave at least an hour before midnight, 2 hours before midnight, so that you have. How sad. Once I had someone who had just was taking it, but they left the final question till right past midnight. That doesn't count. So anyway, if you're having any consideration or concern about the exam, please let me know. Please go to the chat, by the way, and go ahead and give me a little hi like Shane just did. And let me know you're here and you're alive on the other side. Okay. So, yeah. So any questions about how did it go? Did anything take you by surprise when it came to the exam? Was it exactly as I said it would be? Was there something different? Sometimes you guys say something that I didn't know because I don't take the exam. I just have the teacher's exam. And then you say, once there was a typo, like, is there anything there that you want to say about the exam, for better or for worse? Like, and it was just like you said. It was nothing like you said. I wasn't prepared. I was really prepared. Nothing there. No feedback. It was the best, most fun thing I've done in my life. Nothing like that. No one has that to say either. Hi, Victor. Thank you for turning on your video. All right,
First
well,
test since high school.
what's that, Anthony? Did you say something about high school?
Yeah, I said that was the first first test I took since high school.
The first thing you've taken since high school. There you go, breaking the barriers and awesome.
Pretty
Like,
much what I expected.
like- what's that?
It's pretty much how I expected it.
Okay, great. Yeah. So if nothing took you by surprise and everything worked really well, then those of you in this class who are now listening and who haven't done it yet or haven't dared do it yet, go for it. Okay. Don't fear it. Just do it. And as I said, you have 2 chances just today. Now, this is the only exam you're going to have 2 chances on today. The rest, you have only 1 chance every day. And then there's only one other exam that you could probably take in week 14. It's this one or the next one. Okay. So what you can't do is not take it and then not communicate with me and just not take it. Then that's it. You just didn't take it. Okay. You just get the 0 points. Now, this is worth 50 points. So you don't want to miss out on those 50 points. That's for sure. All right. Missing a lot of you guys. Hopefully people show up. No one in particular has said they were sick or anything. So hope people drop in. I'm gonna go ahead and head over to my PowerPoint and share with you guys what we're gonna be up to today. So let me share my screen. Oh, and you had, sorry, one more assignment was due today. You had the, I forgot to ask about that. You had the computer purchase assignment. And then you guys wrote, I saw already some really good answers. How did you guys feel about that? Did you feel like it taught you anything? Did you feel like there was something there that you didn't know? Again, these answers that I'm asking right now, these questions are not graded. This is just me asking, how did you feel about those links? Were they repetitive? Were they useful? I'm always looking for feedback because there's other links I could provide. So what did you guys, you felt informed enough? Truly, like if you, not as assignment, but if you were going to go and buy a computer, did you feel informed enough? Give me some feedback there. Just write it in the chat.
It helped me a lot because I learned a lot of stuff about like laptops I didn't realize, like how expensive they are. And I learned
Guys,
about, like,
while Shane is talking, please write in the chat. I want an answer from all of you guys about the purchasing hardware assignment. Like, what did you know, how useful were those links? That's what I'm really asking. Were they good, useful, repetitive, not enough information? I want an answer from all of you guys in the chat. Okay. Sorry, Shane, I stopped you. You were saying that you learned a lot about laptops.
yeah. And just like, I like how they compared like the laptop and the iPad, like type of thing, like, so you can understand the differences and why you want to get one under the other.
Yeah, a lot of people, I've heard
Very
people say,
helpful
oh,
for
I
me.
bought a laptop or I bought an iPad and thinking they don't need a computer. And I'm like, well, it depends on your life and your style and what you need to do if you need one or the other. There's some people for which a pad is perfect and for some in which it's not enough, right? Or a computer is
That's
too
right.
much. So good. Yeah, so I'm getting a few comments here from you guys, so please make sure to comment. Shane's the only one who doesn't need to write because she spoke about it. Yeah, the one where they showed the used electronics that Riley is mentioning, that's a site linked to a TechSoup is a place that provides used computers for nonprofits, right? So if you're a nonprofit and it's really expensive to buy new stuff, TechSoup, if you're registered as a nonprofit, gives you some really good deals. But what they do is they get donated computers and they, fix them, refurbish them, and then provide them again. And so they have a lot of information about what it's like to have a a computer that's used or secondhand or refurbished and whether it's worth it or not. And just so you know, personally, I have bought a used computer twice and a refurbished computer once. So it's, you know, it's always had, of course, when I purchased the used one, it's a bit of a risk, but I knew what to check on it and it went really great. And then the refurbished ones, they're refurbished by Apple. They're awesome if you're a Mac, and if you're a PC, depending on who did the refurbishing. So you need to just keep an eye on that. All right. It was nice to learn that each one could be used for various reasons that others that don't have available to them. What do you mean by that? Like you thought it would be good for one thing, but then you found out that it could be good for something else? That's Armando who wrote that. I'm just trying to clarify. Armando?
Yeah.
You mentioned it would not, that each one could be used for various reasons that others don't have available, like the fact that a laptop.
Some of them could be like, you know, some are like foldable and you can use like a stylus pen on them because of the touchscreen. Others don't have that available to them, and you have to buy like a separate thing if you're trying to do something like that.
Yeah, sometimes people just go, oh, how awesome, this I can draw on, and then they don't know that the thing they need to draw on is going to cost them another $100, right? So then it's money wasted. Or you might get a touch screen and then never use the touch screen, so then it's money wasted. On the other hand, people who live by the touch screen, right? So knowing what's available and what to put your money down on is really important. So cool. Graphic cards and RAM, Victor, that's good because you're going to be ahead of the game, because that's today's computer concepts exam talks a lot about things like graphic cards and RAM. Okay, so you've already begun your incursion into that conversation, into this week's material. All right, so let me see. 6, 7. Rocio, I haven't heard from you, and I think last week I was calling your name and I couldn't hear you. So if you if you can hear me, then please answer in the chat something about this assignment, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen while Rocio is typing out her answer. I hope you're doing that. And I'm going to share my
yes, I'm typing it right now.
Okay, cool. And so here's my the handout, the PowerPoint for today, which is long because it has a lot of examples of what you're going to be doing. So it's a great resource if you want to download the PDF later to keep up with what, you know, with the assignment, the first assignment that you're going to be working on this week. But other than that, it's, yeah, so let me, I don't share my entire screen as I used to before. Now I just share this windows, which is kind of weird. But all right, first of all, you know, Sam's grace period had ended last week, but you had this week, you had to get your textbook, okay? So now I want a yes, I want everyone to answer yes if you have your textbook. We're going to be starting to work on textbook this week. So if you don't have it, you're going to have to use the ebook. Okay. So I need to make sure that those of you who don't have it, if it's on its way, if what's happening. All right. So please give me a yes, like Victor and Cynthia, Armando and Rocio, you haven't given me a yes yet. So if you don't have it, give me a no. And then we can figure out what's plan B. Okay. Armando, Victor, and Rocio. All right, I see your answer there. So perfect. So it would seem right now, Victor, are you missing your textbook? Oh, you have it? Okay. And Cynthia, did you answer and then answer again or not answer? Yeah. So when you guys click twice, it turns on and then it turns off, right? So, okay, great. So if y'all have your textbooks, that's good. I know there's someone who is still isn't in class yet right now who is still having a problem. So good, perfect. So then nothing I need to do to help you about that. Assignments due today. are the Windows 10 exam and the which computer hardware to purchase. We just talked about that a little bit. And unless there's anything else you want to say about that, I'm going to move on to reminding you that for those of us who are missing it, Anthony, you mentioned you haven't done one, and I know that there's 4 people still needing to do the exam, similar to the 4 people who are still needing to do this one. And you still have comp tutors available today. First of all, on the day of the deadline, which is Tuesday, you have a comp tutor, a tutor trained in helping you with comp assignments, very specific comp tutor from 9:30 in the morning all the way through 8 p.m. Now we meet at 5:30 here, so you have all day until 5:30 to work with a tutor. And then here you have to come back and do the lecture and whatnot. And then after that, you can keep working. So if I'm lecturing about something else and you have like an exam due, I want you to hear the lecture and know what we're up to next week. But if you instead need to keep working on your assignments, then you still have someone helping you until 8 p.m. Okay. So this is just today that I'm pointing out here, like how much help you have if you waited till the last day. But most importantly, here's the schedule, and it's been changed a few times. And so I've updated it in all of the different links now, but this is the schedule where the comp tutors are available every single day of the week. So when you should be using the most, right, would be Wednesday through Friday, where you get to do most of your work, and then you can just relax and do nothing until you come back on Tuesday. Worst case scenario is still help Monday and Tuesday. So every day of the week you have comp tutors. By the way, the rest of the time from, I believe, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I think I was going to you before. There's just general tutors. So if like what's not working is VDI, or what's not working is, that kind of stuff, or Canvas pipeline, you can still ask them for help, but you can't ask them about, 0.372 of the Cengage assignment. So that's what these schedules are for. All right. Now I have heard that people have been using them, so that's great. I also have heard that the other online classes, the ones that don't have me supporting, also have an assignment called Check In with a Tutor, right? I'm thinking I'm going to put that one in. That's a good assignment to make sure that everyone has a chance to know and meet the tutors. But Katie did come to our class, so you guys met her. I know quite a few of you guys have been there a lot. So I've already had you guys say that last week, but some people already have preferences for which tutor they like and the schedules that work for them, right? And right, Suyo, the other day you told me, oh, I like so-and-so. So yeah, you're becoming accustomed to them. They're really helpful. All right. Exam time, I just need to, I think I've already got everything I need, but if you're a DSPS student, or if you don't know what about this is, and you think you might want to know about DSPS, which would be if you have any kind of reason for which we might want to consider more time for assignments or for exams or recordings, or, well, we're on Zoom, but if in person you have audio or visual issues and stuff like that, you need to go through DSPS, make an appointment, and then they'll reach out to me. So if you need help with this, please email me and I'll tell you how to get there. Now, this deadline here is far away, May 28th, okay? But I want to bring it out. It used to be much earlier. But I want to point it out because this is a class that you're going to get a grade in. But if perchance you want to take it as a pass, no pass class, as long as this is not a class that is part of your degree, like it's required for your degree, you could choose to take this class as a pass, no pass class, which would mean that you need the equivalent of a C to pass the class. So if that's something you're interested, talk about it with me. We have a long time. It used to be that the deadline would be pretty much at the end of this month, but with COVID and all the rules changing, they've moved it. But I just wanted to throw out as an idea. Only twice has someone been in that situation, but those few times it was pretty useful to know that, right? Not to assume that they need to get for sure a grade. All right. Next week, another exam. This time it's the computer concepts exam. And we're going to begin working on our first word module textbook assignment. Now, the reason it says begin working on, because this one is not due next week, okay? This one is due in 2 weeks. So you have 2 full weeks to do your first textbook assignment to get accustomed to the system. And in case some people still don't have their textbooks and stuff like that. So this is a 2-week lead in, okay? But today we're going to talk about this assignment, work on it, and make sure that you have time to get it going. So really the only thing for sure due next week is the computer concepts exam. And it's going to take some studying. This one for everyone is, even if you think you're really good at things like graphic cards and RAM and whatnot, this one is going to take some practice. So we're going to work on how to get ready for that one. First of all, let me actually put this in bold. I don't know why it's not in bold. It's open as of today, right? So if anyone who already started practicing, because I mentioned it last week, if you've been practicing and you want to start taking it, go for it. Probably not going to take it today, but you can take it anytime between today and next Tuesday by midnight, okay? But you only get 1 chance, okay? This one is not going to be the kind that gives you 2 chances. I don't know how many of you guys did take 2 chances on the other exam. I can go check, but this one, you get it right or you get it wrong, period. What you do have a chance is the retaking it in week 14, okay? You have an opportunity to retake it in week 14 if you don't like what happened with your grade, all right? So now the only 2 that you'll be able to do that are the these 2, okay? The Windows exam and the computer concepts exam. They are the first 2 exams. They are the first 2 exams. We're giving you an option to retake them in week 14, okay? But you can only take 1 of them. This is important. So you have to choose either between the Windows 10 or the computer concepts exam. So ideally, if you didn't do really well on the Windows 10, then really practice for this one so that then you can retake the Windows 10. If you did great on the Windows 10, then you can do this one and still have another chance to take it. Is that pretty clear? What the choices are? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clear everyone's feedback. How did we prepare for this exam? All right, so the Windows 10 training and the practice exam, which is the same thing you did for the Windows 10, right? Oh, this one, sorry, this one should have been, this should have been deleted. Apologize, this is the one. You already did the 10 exam. This is the one that I was looking for. So you need to do the computer concepts training and the computer concepts practice exam. Now, here's the thing. Every other exam for the whole rest of this class is going to be like yesterday's, like the Windows 10, where they're going to give you a task and you need to complete it. It's called hands-on tasks, hands-on questions, right? You get told, you know, open a document, you open a document, type this thing, add these things up, add them up, whatever example. That's the kind of exams you'll have for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. But the only exception is the computer concepts exam. The computer concepts exam is going to be like multiple choice, yes, no, A, B, C, you know, true, false, that kind of thing, okay? So this is more about knowledge. There's no hands-on. You can't hands-on answer what is RAM, right? You can't hands-on answer what's a hard disk, or, you know, what's malware versus shareware and that kind of stuff. So for that, you need to study and then just basically yes, no, ABC, or true and false. So because of that, you only get 1 chance to answer each question, because if it's yes and you answer yes and it's wrong, you can't get a second and a third try, right? Because it's not hands-on. It's either yes or no. So basically, it's I know, why not, right? So come on. Yeah. So this one is just answer and move on. So training for this one is crucial. Full disclosure, and I know what I'm talking about, and yet when I first took it, I still got 70%, even though this is what I do. right? There's 33 questions and I got turned 23 right. All right. So they're not necessarily that easy. They're questions that you do need to study for, because it's not about knowing how to do. You need, the way the question is asked, you need to know what to answer. So once again, each exam is worth 50 points. Okay. Hi, Eric. Nice to see you. So now I'm talking I'll catch you up with whatever we did out before this, but just so you know, we have a computer concept exam coming up that you can take all week this week, do next week. Okay. So you're going to be doing either the training and the practice exam for it. So I'm talking about that. So training is crucial. It is the only one that you need to just sit and study, actually read, listen, take notes. The rest are hands-on. So again, it's worth 50 points. Again, it's open book and notes, but in this case, open book and notes is really helpful, because if you have a question that you really keep not getting it, just write down the answer. When that question comes up, you can read the answer from the notes that you took. So that's fine with me, as long as you understand what you're being asked and you know what to answer. That's, that works for me. There's no time limit, just like last time. Once you open the exam, you can't leave the exam, and you only have one chance at it, right? So I urge you to consider Chrome or Firefox and to check your system, which you've all done, but say that you had to reinstall or upgrade or any of that, you should probably do it, check your system before you start the exam, always to make sure everything is still working. Yes, Sue, you have a question? Your sound is off.
Okay,
Mhm.
are these tests timed?
Nope, they're not timed. So no time limit.
I didn't think so. Okay, yeah. Gosh, I could have
But
gotten.
you can't start it and then stop it and then start it again tomorrow and then following. Like once you open it, you're in exam mode, and you can take 2 hours, you can take 4 hours, but you can't leave it and have it default to that you're not working on it. You know what I mean? So you need to actively be taking your exam. But if
I
you're
had
taking, yeah.
I had one question on there where there was no screen that popped up. So I want to show that to you later and see if that was correct. Didn't seem right to me.
Okay. All right. So
I copied it on my phone, so I'll show it to you later when we break.
Yeah. You mean about in the Windows 10 exam, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Okay, so let me head back here. So the exam procedure, again, I just explained 33 multiple choice, yes, no, true, false questions, right? One chance to answer, and then you move on to the next question. All right, so it's the only one that's this way. So here's an example. You might be asked something and you'll have to say yes, true, or false. And this is important. Then you're going to save your answer. Remember the big old submit that I told you last week? Don't use, never use a submit. Submit means you're done with the exam. You've answered one question, you submit, and you've only answered 1 out of 33. Okay, so you just save your answer and then you move on to the next question. Another type of question might be multiple choice, choose and then save answer, and always ignore and avoid the submit. Okay. As usual, you go to your tasks, and if you don't know one, you can skip it, but once you answered one time, you get a no and you can't go back to it. Right. All right. So like last time, they'll tell you you got 70%. That doesn't mean 70 points, right? 100% would be 50 points. 70% would be, I don't know, 37 or something like that. I have it, here it is. So 70% would be, yeah, 35 points. Okay, so if that's your 100% score, you have to divide it by 2. All right, so now the other thing that comes up is that when you completed all the tasks, this is an example, and you get 10 right, then you're done, right? Then it just it tells you you're complete. This is just a sample. It'll tell you what you got right. It'll tell you how many you got right, but it'll never tell you which ones you got right or wrong. Okay, because then it would be too easy to copy exams. Now, the kind of things that you're going to get asked, this is why I'm saying that it's really important to go through all the tasks in the tutorial, will be communications hardware, operating systems, processor cache, random access memory, how computers represent data, describe laptops, a little bit of what we already did that, internal hard drives, how to store files in a network and the cloud, buying add-on devices, peripheral software, system software, that kind of stuff. So as you can see, this isn't just stuff that you might just do and get out of your, you really need to do the training for this. Buying computers, we kind of did that. Microphones, sound, speakers, headsets, printers, cameras and scanners, how to install stuff, how to take care of computers, temperatures, operating systems, what's a safe or not website, cybersecurity attacks, encrypting personal data, securing data, that kind of stuff. All right, so that's it. Those are the 33 points. That's what the training is going to talk about. All right. The assignment that we did for today, which these were the links, hopefully helped you get onto the path of that kind of conversation. And you had to, you know, review the information and give your own answers. But for this stuff, for these kind of questions, you definitely need to work on the training. Okay, so I'm going to actually switch and we're going to head over to the training to show you what a training for this kind, for this, what the training for this assignment looks like. So let me share my screen. Before I start talking about this, any questions about what I've explained about the exam? So again, it's not hands-on. Eric, you weren't here when I mentioned this. Well, you still have to practice for the one today, but these are not things that you do. These are things that you need to study and answer. And it's the only exam that's this way. The rest will all be like the one that you already took or that you're having to take for today. So to do the training, to practice, I'm going to head down into the computer concepts exam. And here's something I want to, into the syllabus, I'm sorry, here's something I want to mention, because for today, what you had to do was all here in the syllabus. You had, this was due, you had to do these two, and then you had to take the exam. Now, if you did these two, some people emailed me asking how come I didn't get a grade for them. So just so you know, the practice exam and the training are just for you to practice to get ready. It's up to you to do them or not. The only thing that's due is the exam, in the sense that that's where you're going to get rated on. I highly recommend you do the training and you do the practice exam to get ready. But the practice exam isn't questions that you'll be graded on. It's for you to like practice on how the exam is going to feel. But I don't care if you get that right or wrong. So there's no grade for these two. So there's 0 points for completing those two. Okay, there's 50 points max if you take the Windows exam and get everything right. Now, next week, I just told you that there's two things, right? There's the take the computer exam. So again, you have the training and the practice exam right here. Again, 0 points. This is 50 points. But then I told you that you need to start working on the Word textbook project. We're going to talk about that later, but as you can see, it doesn't show up here. It doesn't show up here because, as I said, you have 2 weeks to do that. So really, they're filed here by due date. So you would find it right here by due date. Does that make sense? It's the Word Module 1 textbook project. So you have to go to the due date to find it. Or if you go to the modules, which I don't usually take you to the modules too much. And let me go to, I need to go to the student view, sorry. Didn't notice that wasn't in student view. Let's switch to student view. Hello. Student view, okay. So if I'm gonna collapse everything and head down to week 4, So here you have the lecture for the week 4, which basically tells you what you need to do: complete computer assignments, do the training, do the practice exam, take the exam. So you could just work your way down the module as well. At which point, here you have the Word Module 1 training and the Module 1 textbook project. But as you can see, these are due February 15th, and these two are not due till February 22nd. But they're available for you to start working on, because the idea is that once you finish that exam, you can start working on this one, okay? So hopefully you're going to spend most of your energy on getting ready for the exam and taking the exam. And when that's done, you can start working on this textbook project, but it's not due until the future. Okay, so now either from the syllabus or from this module, I want us to go to the computer concepts training, because this one is very, very different than the one we've taken up until now. So I'm going to click on it and show you what computer concepts training is all about. So I'm going to make sure that the sound, let me stop my share and start again, making sure that the sound is being shared, because I always need to click on something different for that. Okay, good. Now it's gonna, oh, I just told you guys that I have a new computer set up, and so can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? As I said, I've reset my entire system. I cleaned it up and set it down to 0. And so Zoom is asking me all the initial, like, oh, you can't share. Asking me all the original questions, because I finished doing this last night and now it's sharing for the first time. All right, so here we go. I'm going to load the computer concepts training. And this one is completely different to what you did practice. Again, oh, I do need to check my system, by the way, because they don't see, because it's a new system. I need to unpop. Darn it. Give me a second. Settings. As I said, it's all new for pop-ups. Pop-ups. I'm just going to allow them all. For me, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now let me refresh. Good, cool. So now I can launch the assignment. So there you go, because you never know what happened. I'm going to check it and let's start the training. Okay, so do you see? Can you see this pop up? Is the training shared? Sometimes the training doesn't get shared. Okay, so computer concepts training, task 1 of 33. All right, as you can notice, there's no observe or practice here at all. There's no choices. All I can do is press play. So I'm going to click.
Communications hardware allows your computer to connect with other computers in the next room and across the world.
I'm going to stop. As you can see, it works as a video, right? Now, here, what task we're doing is the identify communications hardware. So that's a task we're working on. Okay. It's a video. It's a 1 minute and 12 seconds video that I need to sit through. Now, I am a very visual person and I like to read the things in case I say something I didn't understand what they said. So you can click on the T for transcript. Are you seeing this little box that popped up? Sometimes, okay. So here's a transcript. It's basically the words that she says, right? That's it. So computer communications hardware to connect to computers across the world. That's everything she just finished setting. So it's literally the script of what she's saying. That kind of helps me personally sometimes when technical questions get too complicated. So I like the transcript. You don't have to. I'm just showing you where it is. And you can also click on the CC and get the closed captions right there. Okay, so you can choose to have that or not to help you with the video. So now I'm going to go ahead and press play again.
Starts with the computer itself. It uses a network interface card, or NIC, which does just what it says.
Now, so imagine this little part. If you have no idea what she's talking about and you didn't have the CC or something like that, I'm going to back up. It just might be
And across the
harder
world.
to
It
understand.
starts with the computer itself. It uses a network interface card, or NIC, which does just what it says.
I like
Allows
having
the
that.
machine to interface with a network, either
Okay.
with a port for plugging in an Ethernet cable or an antenna for connecting wirelessly. That antenna or cable typically connects to a router, which manages network traffic by evaluating data and routing it to the right place.
All right. So as you can see, that's the type of training you're going to have. Now, I recommend that since you're going to have 33 of these, that you start early. Hi, Cassandra. Got it. Cool. So what I did, because I just told you I'm more of a viewer, things stick to me if I read them. I actually use these. I copied and pasted them and then highlighted the stuff that I didn't understand in a Word, in a document or something like that. But you can otherwise hear this a lot. And then later, when you get asked the question, it'll be based on everything that this person says. Something of all the things that this person said will be the question, right? All right. So I'm going to show you that there is no right or wrong to this one. There's no, if you finish this, let's just run it all the way to the
A router
end.
can connect to multiple devices on a local network, such as your computer, your tablet, and a shared printer. It connects those devices to the internet thanks to one more piece of hardware, a modem, which sends and receives data beyond your local network to the internet. Today's digital modems usually include Wi-Fi, so your computer can connect with a router wirelessly instead of trailing enormous cables everywhere. If your computer is a long way from your wireless router, you can add a repeater to extend the range of the signal. If this sounds like a lot of equipment, keep in mind that manufacturers are finding ways to streamline. For example, some modems also provide router functionality, so you may not even need a separate router.
All right. So then when this thing is done, oh, sorry, that was not. So when that little video finishes, they ask you a question very similar to the kind of question that you'll be asked about this point. So basically, this is what the exam is going to be like. It'll say, a computer typically connects to a router via a modem, repeater, network interface card, or network computer. Okay. Now, I know that you probably didn't pay attention to the question, so you might not know what it is, but let's go ahead and I'm going to click on this one. And I'm going to say save answer. Incorrect. Now, if this were the exam, you're done. It's incorrect. You move on to the next one. But since it's the training, you can say retry and you'll go, well, I don't know. Maybe it's the repeater, and you save the answer and it's incorrect again. So you can basically retry it enough times until you get it right. And then finally, when you have no other options, you go, oh, that was it. So that means you need to study this one, right? Because you didn't know it. But once you finally get it right, you got a little check mark. But that doesn't mean you really know it. It just means you might kind of hit it correctly or something, right? So you might want to repeat that task and just kind of press play again and then take notes or pay more attention to what it was saying. And then when you're done and you run all the way to the end again, so let me move it all the way to the end, then
Communications hardware allows your computer
Not
to
letting
connect
me
with
advance
other
it. That
computers
drives me
in the next
crazy.
room
Really?
and across the world. It starts with the computer. It also
There we
also
go.
provide router functionality.
So I was able
so
to
you may not
move
even
it.
need a separate router.
So when it's done, I get the questions again. So you basically run through it again, and this time, hopefully, I can get the answer in only one or two right. By the time you get the answers right every time, you know you've got this point down. You leave, you tried all the rest, and then you test yourself again next, tomorrow. And then after 3 days of getting them, the ones you didn't get right, then you should then try the exam. Now, the exam will not ask you this question. The exam might ask you, what does a repeater do? Or what's the point of the, you know, who knows what else it'll ask you, but it'll be a question based on this whole video. All right, now remember, the one you never ever hit is submit. You got that one, right? I made like all kind of little X and drawings on that one. You only just save your answer. And so on and so forth. And we keep working down our way. Now, this kind of stuff, since it's not hands-on, this is the kind of stuff that I don't really teach too much about, because the questions and answers that I can give you explanations. Like if you need more explanation than what the video gives you, I can explain more than what the video gives you. You can text me during the week, email me during the week. You can look it up. You can look at resources to find out if you didn't really understand why, for example, avoid extreme high temperatures. You listen to this whole video and something about it doesn't make sense to you, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, there's not much more I can do about this, because if I try to teach you something and say that I teach you about communications hardware, what if I don't say the exact same thing that this video says? You'll be tested on what this video says. You know what I mean? And so I've decided that the easiest thing is for you guys to go through the whole training. And when you're stopped and there's something you really don't understand, email me, ask us in the help I need care, or ask the tutors, and they can help you more. You know, you Google it, you ask the tutors, you ask the help I need a question, and that should help you clarify it. That said, I do want to show you. So anyway, I'm going to be done. So I'll close this, close the transcript. I didn't submit it, right? Submitting is at the very end for it to grade you, but there's no grade on this, so it doesn't matter. Let me show you then what's the difference with the exam. With the practice exam. So the practice exam, what it's going to do is it's going to not give you many chances. Okay. So I'm going to click on the practice exam. And when you feel you're ready to go for the exam, click on the practice exam. And we're going to say go. And it warns you there, you won't get points for this. You have to read everything that's there. And yes, you're going to have 10 times, right? So I'm going to start it. And you only have 5 tasks in your practice exam. Okay, that's it. So it's mainly for you to get comfortable with how the questions are asked. So the questions, you have 1 attempt only. A router manages the flow of network traffic. What do you guys think the answer is? Give me a yes or a no, and I will answer whatever the majority is saying. So a router manages the flow of network traffic. I know you guys didn't really listen to the whole question number 1, the video. I was just showing it to you. But that's another question based on that same video that we just saw. So I'm seeing some yeses. A lot of people have no idea and don't want to dare say no or yes. If you think it's yes, give me a yes. Don't just nod, Sue. Okay, I guess at this point, even if the ones who haven't answered say no, there's an overwhelming group of yeses. So let's go for yes. And I'll save the answer, and yay, answer correct. Move to the next one. Which cache levels are built onto the processor chip? Well, you probably have no idea until you do that video. So I'm going to just guess, right? And I'm going to go for that, and I'm going to save the answer. Ha ha, well, teacher guessed correctly. Maybe she didn't really guess, did she? All right, so et cetera, okay? So once you finish this, as you can see, I've been getting them right, but I can't go back to them. If it's an exam, I'm not allowed to go back to practice. Versus this is training, I could go back. In the exam, you either got it right or wrong. So here, let's get this one wrong. What type of operating system runs a dedicated electronic device smart thermostat? So I'm going to say that that one. So now I got it incorrect. Okay. So if I got it incorrect and I go back to this one, there it is. It's just wrong. Period. No going back to it. Okay. So the important thing is to just get that you can't go back to it. Other than that, these again will not be necessarily the questions in the exam. They're just more practice questions. Okay. and you're done. That's what you do. And once you feel you're comfortable with that situation, then you actually go and you take the exam. All right, you have a whole week. This one, these questions will make you think. You might have to look things up. You might need to practice more. So don't wait until the last minute of the last day to take this exam. I recommend definitely don't take until the last day to practice for it, because you saw it. This training is videos. It's 33 tasks. Each video might be anything from a minute to 3 minutes, sometimes 30 seconds, but this will take you time. Am I being clear? You need to spend some time practicing for this one before you can actually then take it, right? Because of the length of the video that does not have a fast forward speed, or not fast forward, how do you call it? Times 1 or times to x1, x2, x3, so you can go faster. You need to sit there and listen to the whole thing. The exam isn't necessarily hard or easy. It's all about how much you pay attention to the videos and actually do the work of sitting in front of the training and reading, and then you'll just get it right. Okay? Any questions? All right. So now what we're going to do next has to do with the rest of today's class is all about the first assignment on your textbook. Okay. And it's this one I have a lot to say about, and it's what you will practice this week once you finish the exam. So first, I highly recommend you spend a lot of time in the exam. Okay. But that you need to kind of do on your own. So once I'm done with today's lecture, you're welcome to just sit there and start working on the training and listening to it and stopping me if you have questions or stuff like that, or just going off and doing it on your own. Just spend time in it on it. But there's nothing really else that that's due tomorrow. What we're going to do next is about what's due the following week. I just gonna switch to PowerPoint. So before I move on to the textbook assignment, I had asked everyone who was here, but 2 or 3 of you guys arrived after my question. So Eric, Cassandra, I believe Armando, do you guys have the textbook? Did you receive the textbook yet?
No, I haven't received the textbook.
Eric, you don't have the textbook yet. Cassandra, you do have it. Okay, Eric, have you purchased it, or is it still being processed?
I think it's still being processed.
Well, the thing is, did you buy it from the school or from Cengage? Sam Cengage, who did you?
Well, I purchased Sam's
From whom?
from Cengage.
Okay, so then you need to go. This is the point I was asking. If you purchased it from school, they send you the textbook. But if you purchased it from Cengage, you need to go now and rent the textbook. Got it?
Okay.
So it's not just going to come. So you need to go into Cengage and follow the instructions. And later, if you want, you can share your Cengage with me, and I'll show you how. And it costs $7.99. And it takes 2 or 3 days to get here. So do it today so that you have the book by the end of the week, and you can begin to work on this for next week. Okay. That said, if you don't have the textbook, you can still start using the ebook. Just that the ebook is a bit more complicated to use, because in this case, so you all have your textbooks here, most of you. So you already saw how the textbooks work. Those of you who have it. If you just flip through it, you see there's a ton of, let me actually stop my share for a minute. And the textbook is a ton of, that shows you what to do. Press here, press there, click here, click there, right? So although there's and I know you guys have it in a binder, but let me just put it in. But the thing is that it's, the textbook project maybe is 80 pages. It's an A full, so if you've seen the sides of the book, I have a lot of stuff in mine right now for some strange reason. So I'm going to move that and give you another example. But you have colors here on the sides, okay? And so basically the blue, all the blue tabs are the Word assignments. The yellow ones are the PowerPoint assignments. The green ones are Excel, and the red ones are Access. So we're going to start with all of the blue ones, and each one of these is 3 modules, okay? There's 3 modules per each assignment. So there's 3 modules for Word, 3 modules in the textbook for each one. But we are only going to do 2 modules of each one. Does that make sense? We're going to do module 1 and module 2 for Word, module 1 and module 2 for PowerPoint and for Excel. But for Access, we're only going to do module 1. So there's a lot of this book that you won't be using. Still, module 1, Word, is a bunch of pages. So if you go to the very top of your textbook, you'll see at the very top that it says Word Module 1, and then it says WD 1 through 49. You see that? That means that Module 1, and if you're lost and you don't know what I'm talking about, just open to anywhere that has a blue tab, and you'll see at the very top, in the very corner, it'll say Module 1, WD, whatever, whatever. Or if you land in Module 3, WD, and it'll say WD 1 through 69. So depending on what module, each page is numbered 1 through whatever per module. So it's not like you go to page 798 on this book. You go to page WD 1 through 49. That's module 1. Then you're going WD, let me head over to module 2. So it says WD 2. And that's 2 to 99. Does that make sense, you guys? Any questions about that, of what I'm saying? Does it make? So module 1, the one that's due next week, is 49 pages long. But I'd say half or more, no, God, 30 of those 49 pages is just big pictures showing you what to click on. So it's not like it takes a long time. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not like it's assigning you 49 pages of a deep, thick textbook. So what you need to do is open up to page 1 of module 1, and the title is Creating and Modifying a Flyer. So is everyone there? Now, let me just show you Eric.
Yeah.
I'm going to show Eric, if you do not have the book yet, in the Canvas, go to modules, and then in modules, go all the way to week 4. And here I have a link that says e-textbook. Read the textbook online until you receive your printed copy. Okay. So have you found this link yet? Go to Canvas modules.
Going on there right now.
Take week 4. Yeah. Right. And so right under the module 1 textbook project, e-textbook. So everyone else should be finding the spot in your textbook where it opens up to the page 1. I'm going to click here on this link. Now, if you have 2 computers, 2 monitors, you can also put the ebook on one side and on the other side do the work. But if you have only 1 monitor, it becomes a bit harder. That's why for $7.99, free shipping back and free shipping to return it, we require the textbook. It's not people who haven't had it constantly wish they'd had it. Always. Okay. So here's the book. Close that up, and then skip that. We don't need that. And here's the book. Now, as you can see, what you open up is Windows, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Access, Outlook, Publisher. So these are a bunch of different, it's all like every one of the books that they have for this is there. So if we go to Word and click on Word, then Word Module 1 is the one that is due next week, creating a module flyer. This is just for Eric because he doesn't have the textbook in his hand. So this is just the textbook. So I'm going to click on the textbook and basically introduction, what is Word. So by the time I click on page 1, this is looking like what your guys' textbook is looking like. Okay. So this is page 1, Microsoft Word, and it explains to you what Word is like. You flip over to page 2, introduction. We're all still in page 2 of the book. Page 3, project with flyer. You read the project and so on and so forth. It's just not that it's harder to look at this and then to go, okay, let me move this aside and let's open Word to do the work. Because as of the next few pages, so guys, head over to page WD 1-3, and where it says start using Word, it says to start Word and create a blank document. So I want everyone to stop right here because this is the most important thing you're going to learn today. So for everyone who is on their textbooks, which is everyone else, and if you see my little picture of me, it's this page right here. WD, down at the bottom, it says 1.3. Okay. So this is what we're, I don't know why it doesn't, I can take the blur off. It doesn't believe it's my face. If I put my face at the right angle, it gives us all, I don't know, it just, the cameras, I have to turn the blur off, but I have some feedback. I'm going to mute everyone because I'm not sure what is happening, but I think got like the stuff is being repeated. Okay. Is everyone there? Is everyone on that page? Did you find the book, Eric? I can't hear you. I muted you. I'm sorry. I muted everyone. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I found the book, but I'm just having trouble finding that
Okay.
that page there.
Yeah. So basically, let me go back. That's why we ask people to buy the book because this is not the most. So do you want to share your screen and I can show you how to get to it? It's going to be much easier than me demoing it. Can you share your screen? Have you ever shared your screen? Should I help you through that?
Desktop or on
Desktop is fine. And then on the bottom right, there's another link to say share again. That's blue with white letters on the second time.
There we go.
Okay. Cool. So now, okay. So I need to, Windows 2019, introduction to Windows 10. Oh, because you're in Windows. So close Windows. We're gonna go to Word. There you go. Word 2019. There you go. Create and modify in a flyer. Word module 1. There you go. Okay. And now you can start, clicking to the right, and there you go. Project flyer with a picture. That would take you to WD 1.3. That's where we are.
Okay.
But I mean, you would have to go through all of it, but now go one more page. So click again to the right. Start and now move a little bit to one more time to the right. Okay. So basically here is where the assignment starts. So is everyone here, you guys? I'm going to stop your share because you're in the right spot. Is everyone, give me a yes if you found this page in your book. All right. I'm gonna share my screen. Cynthia, I hope you found it. If you haven't answered yet, I'm making the assumption that you found it, but let me know if you can't find it. All right. Sue, did you find it? All right. I can't. You're muted.
1-3?
Yeah.
Yes. I have.
So perfect. All right. So why is this place important? First of all, I do want you to back up, and in the textbook, it looks, in the ebook, Eric, it looks like a lot of pages have gone by, but in the textbook, we're just one page in, right? So on the left side, you guys with the textbook, what you have is the picture of the flyer that we're going to create. And for you, Eric, I'm going to go back up a couple of pages, and here it is. So this is going to be your assignment that you're going to create. Okay, we're all going to make this flyer. Now, some of you guys who are comfy with Word might go, oh, this I can just knock out in 10 minutes. And some of you guys are like, oh my God, I have no idea how to do this. Don't worry, because you will be taken step by step by step, starting with a blank page, and you're going to have to type all this in, import this text, this picture. You'll be given all the material, like the pictures if you're asked to put in a picture and stuff like that. But here's the thing. The assignment doesn't have to look kind of like this. It has to look exactly, absolutely exactly like this. And this is the part where it gets a little bit iffy, because people are like, oh, it looks like that. And then when they show it to me, they don't have the right commas, or they don't have the right periods, or they transposed 2 words, or they forgot to make something green, or they gave 2 lines instead of 1 in between. And suddenly the assignment, which looks very similar to this, but when you turn it in, you get, it's worth 10 points and you get like 2 points. And people are like, oh my God, it looks so similar. Well, it needs to be exactly the same. And that's what's going to teach you how to use all the tools. But Cengage, Sam will receive this flyer, will put it through its automatic machine, and will pop it out going, oh, you didn't write wash your hands. And you'll go, what do you mean? My thing says wash your hands. And their correction, which I'll show you how to get it, won't say, oh, you forgot to put in an exclamation point. They'll just say, it doesn't say wash your hands, right? And you'll have to go ahead and go, what do you mean? And it's because you forgot to put in an exclamation point. Does that make sense? So you'll have to research and review how come it looks so similar, but there's an exclamation point missing. And you're like, it says wash your hands. And then the report is going to say, basically the report is going to say, repeat the instruction saying, write wash your hands, exclamation point. And you read that and you write wash your hands, exclamation point. And it just kind of keeps going back and forth saying, right, wash your hands. And then you come to us, and us tutors and teachers tell you, looks like you forgot the exclamation point. And, because when you see yourself and you edit yourself, sometimes you just don't see those things. So that's why us tutors and teachers are going to be really helpful to help you figure out what's missing. If you ever write a paper or turn anything in, I highly recommend, if you have a chance to have someone edit your work, like just read through your work, because they'll be able to pick up stuff that you don't see anymore because you've written that paragraph 85 times and you skip over the fact that you forgot the word and or something like that. Other people see that. Okay. So ideally you will do that. That said, you have 10 chances to submit the assignment. So if you did forget one, hopefully you'll figure it out by the next time. So here we go. This is the assignment that you need to do. How you're going to do it. And this is why that second page, and I'm going to move 3 times on the ebook. But this is the most important thing I can teach you today. It says to start Word and create a blank document. It says click like little on the ebook. It's this little orange one. On our textbook, it's a little red circle with a 1. You guys see the red circle with a 1 on the textbook? Clearing the feedback. That says, click the start button on Windows taskbar to display the start menu, right? And it starts showing you how to create a blank document. It says, go to the next little dot. It shows you how to do that, da, 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 da. And then it says, click on the start menu, then you flip the page, right? So it says scroll through the list of apps. So you do that. I'm just showing you how to read the textbook, by the way. We're not doing this in Word yet. And then it says, click on the start menu, display the word start screen. And this is flip of the page, those of you with a textbook. Now it says, click on the start button to start a blank document in the Word window. Okay, there it is, figure 1 to 4. That is the only thing in this entire textbook that you need to ignore. You should never start with a blank document. Okay, so those of you who have your textbook, grab a big marker here, a Post-it note if it's not your own, grab a pen, go to page 1.4, and then where it says blank, click on the blank document to create a blank document, cross that out completely. So it's 0.3, okay? Cross this out, right? Cross it out, and instead say, open the start document that you downloaded from Cengage. So remember a few weeks ago when we did the Getting Started with Sam with Cengage project that you had to click on the assignment, download some stuff, and open a blank document and start working? That's the start file. We're going to go show you how it's happening right now. But the most important thing is every single textbook project says, create a blank document. Everyone in this entire textbook. Each time you say the word, create a blank document to get started. So at the beginning of every module, when it says that, cross that out. And every single time you have to start using the document that they already gave you that's got your name embedded in it, and that it is a blank document, and you start from scratch each time, but you cannot start from creating a blank document or of your own, or you're due at 2 hours of work and you'll submit it and it will not be accepted. This is why this is the most important part of today's lesson. You should not ever start a blank document. Got it? And the entire 10 more weeks that we have left, or whatever, 8 more, I don't know how much longer we have left. 16 weeks, we're on week 4, so we have 12 more weeks. Never once should you start with a blank document. All right, so everyone in the chat, I want an answer from everyone. What's golden rule number 1 of all your textbook projects? I need your answers written down. If you start every textbook project, what's the golden rule? Yep, Riley, don't use a blank document. Never start a blank document. Yep. Don't start it. Perfect. However silly and childish this might seem, I can't tell you how many times people end up working for 2 or 3 hours because they started a blank document. So this is just, hearing it from me, say it out loud to yourself and type it out. That's 3 ways of getting this information. Every time you read this, yes, I like the exclamation point, Shane. Never start a blank document. All right. So I wish there were a trick question I could give you points on, like at some point. I wish there were. All right. So there's some kind of a repeating. Are you guys hearing me repeating myself in the background there?
Yes.
I'm gonna I've heard someone. This was happening last week with last class with someone who had a Chromebook. I'm going to mute you, but it doesn't help me. Okay. Yeah, there's a weird little echo. Last time it was repeating perfectly well. I would say this, it was like a joke. It was like, I would say this and the echo would go, I would say this. Like same voice, same tone. This time it's not so intense. Can you guys understand me though? Is it bugging you or is it still understandable? Should I continue? Yeah, last time we ended up, someone in their home had to do something with their Chromebook for it to stop, and I don't remember what it was. Okay. All right. So that's it. The reason I brought you all to this page is to show you to never start with a blank document. Now, that said, how do you create this document is by following, all these instructions. So you start reading, you open the SAM file, and then you start basically from the following page, and you start reading about the word window, the scroll bars, the status bar, the ribbon, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I will be spending time at the end of this teaching you this. So people who have never used, I like your uppercase there, Sue, yelling it out. No, start with a blank document. If you guys, and normally it's not nice to yell, but this is a good one to yell. Now, if you have never used Word, or if you kind of know Word but not really well, then I'm going to teach you some pretty good tips and tricks. So stay for the lecture. Other than that, when I get to this, I'm not there yet. When I start teaching you about Word and you think you're comfy, then you can just kind of come to the book and just start following instructions. And it basically says, click on this, click on that, do this, do that. So the next few pages are just teaching you stuff. This is the tell me box. This is the quick access toolbox. This is the key tips box. This is the, mini toolbar. Those are things that will be in the exam. They'll say, go to the quick access bar and add something to it, for example, right? So you need to know what these things are, but they're not necessarily part of the assignment. The assignment itself starts on page 1.10. And you'll see that when you go to 1.10, there's a number 1 over there again. So now I'm going to scroll, in this ebook, I'll go a bunch of times. It shows you how to display a ribbon, adjust the margin. So if you read it and you do it, you learn a lot. But as far as the assignment is concerned, it starts right on 13. Right here. No print layout, adjust your margins. It tells you to adjust your margins. It keeps going. Change the zoom, entering text. Okay, so actually I was wrong. It's page 112. So by the time you get to page 112, figure 117, that's the first time that it asks you to do something with that document. It asks you to click in here and type, wash your hands. And see here where it says wash your hands with exclamation point. Some people miss that and don't put the exclamation point, right? And then they do the entire assignment and then they've always missed the exclamation point. So anyway, just showing you, it'll tell you what, type your hands, and the picture will show you what to do. And it moves on to the next page, change your zoom width, and it moves to the next page, and so on and so forth. So you have to follow the instructions of this assignment. And basically, module 1 has 77 pages. Okay. Yeah, 77 pages. When you hit 78, it becomes kind of yellowish and it's just extra assignments. Okay. So there's 77 pages. All of those 77 pages in the future will be due once a week. This time you have 2 weeks. Okay. But as you already saw, a lot of those pages are just reading, learning, and then it'll start telling you do this, do that, do this, do that, write this, write that, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, once you finish that assignment, you submit it. So how you do this is there's 3 steps. You first download the stuff you need. Then you do the textbook assignment by reading the 77 pages. When it's done, you save and you submit it. Now I'm going to head over to my PowerPoint and we're going to talk about that. So here's the textbook assignment. You have 2 weeks for the first and only time. Remember, in the future, it's only 1 week. So the assignment is from pages 1 to 76. So WD1 to 76. Now you know what that means, right? What that WD1 to 76 means. Please stop me if there's anything I'm saying right now that doesn't make sense to you. Then do not start with a creating blank document. You must download the start file. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then start instructions following page 111. It's actually 112. No, 111. You're supposed to do some margins. Okay. If you start with a blank page, you will not get points. Okay, I think explain that to death. So how do we start this? We go to the syllabus or to the module and click on textbook assignment number 1. You load it in SAM. You get your textbook project start screen. You have 10 left. And here you're going to be told to download. So you need to download the start file and the support image. And then click on reading the ebook only if you do not have the printed textbook. So you can also read the ebook from here, Eric, if you don't have the printed textbook. Okay. So here's what the page is going to look like. We've already done this with the getting started. Okay. Oh, Sue, you have a question. What heading is that on? And Victor, Mac users need to be on VDI. Yes. In fact, right here it says this project is not compatible with Office for the Mac. Some steps cannot be completed or graded. To receive full credit in the step, use Office for Windows. And basically, the step that doesn't work is when they ask you to change colors and to change into a new theme. You'll learn about themes. The Mac and the Windows use different colors, and so you'll submit it, and everything related to color, you might have done it right, but it won't be the color that the book texts you to choose, so you get downgraded on those points. That said, it's not so many points that you'll get a C on it, but you might get an A minus or a B, you know what I mean? Instead of 10 points, maybe you get 8 points. So it depends on if you always get 8 points all the way through, you'd still pass the class, you know what I mean? But if you can do it on VDI, you can get all 10 points. Okay. So in other situations like access, yeah, Mac just doesn't have access. But in this case, it's just the color and the theme issues that don't work. The whole rest of it is the same. So basically, you're going to have to click on download, and it'll give you the instructions, which is basically kind of like the book. And then it'll give you the start file that you need to use, and the support file, which is that photograph of washing the hands. So you'll download this. It's going to go. Most of you only need, you click these two. This just links you to the book. Okay. This links you to the textbook. And these two things are the assignments that'll go into your downloads. I'm going to practice this right now. Then you're just going to, by the way, let me just show you a plan B, which is if your window is skinny, then the download shows up there and the save SAM and submit shows up here. So it kind of gets tall and skinny, but it's the same window as this one where it's next to each other. Does that make sense? Depends on how wide you made your window if you get one or the other, but it's the same stuff. Okay. So you download the files, then you open the start file, and it will be a blank page, but it will have your name underneath. It'll have all the stuff that Sam puts in there. Complete the assignment, which is basically page 1 through 77, and save the file. At some point, it'll tell you what name you need. The textbook walks you through what name they want. And when you're done, you have to resubmit. Now, these pages say the same thing. Preview the assignment, and there it is. And then when you're done, you open the same assignment link from Canvas, the same one that you did to start it, and then you submit the file. Okay. So I'm going to, you go back, you click again on the assignment that's due, it brings you to the same page. It'll tell you how many submissions are left. By then you might have only 10 or 2 or however many, and you submit. You drag or drop here if you're good at that, or you click and you browse to find in your comp folder, Word 1 that you created in your documents folder. You will find your file, you submit it. If the name is not correct, is not exact, or if something was wrong with the file, like you started with the blank file, then you'll get a message saying, nope, SAM has detected that this is not the start file for this project, so you may reject the submission, for example. They're rejecting it. They're not letting it. It says your instructor may reject the submission, but no, Cengage rejects it. Doesn't let you put it in there. If the name is wrong, it might say match file name and then re-upload. So this is the name that they're expecting. Okay. So then you need to have your assignment named that way. Okay. And then you hit submit. Okay. Once again, if something's wrong with a submission, it'll warn you. So do not walk away until you hit submit and you get the green, yay, everything is good, all is okay. Now, we're going to do this all inside of SAM. We're going to do this all together, but I'm showing you the steps here so that later you can come refer them to them. This is an old screenshot. I don't have the screenshot of how to view reports. Once we go now, I'll put it in because I didn't have the test student up with my computer. So this is the important thing is that once you submit, you need to click on view reports, which is going to show up right here. It'll say something about reports. We're going to see that in a minute. And then you're going to download it and check your reports. And it'll say something like, you only got 30 out of 100. And you're like, oh, what do you mean? It looks so good. And then maybe you forgot to adjust the margins, which were on page 111. Yeah, you start on page 111, not 112. That's true. You adjust the margins and then it says type text. And see, it doesn't tell you what you did wrong. It just repeats the instruction. It says the text wash your hands should be entered in the first line of the document. And you're looking at wash your hands, and maybe what you did is you, as I said, you forgot the exclamation point, or maybe you wrote wash our hand or wash your hand, or, there's little typos like that happen all the time. So then the way they correct it is telling you it's not there. That's what they're saying. And it's just that there's something wrong in there. Okay. So you make all your corrections and then you resubmit and you press down the report again. And you see now maybe you got 2 other things that you didn't get the first time, and so on and so forth, until you finally you don't need to keep resubmitting. You can get whatever grade you want. You have 10 chances to submit. It's up to you to submit once or 4 times or 10 times. That's your choice. Once the deadline is up, then there's no more. So now I'm noticing Victor and Sue had questions. So Sue, you said, what heading is that on? Can you tell me what you're asking? Because I left you behind on that question. You need to unmute yourself.
The green files that I'm looking at, page 56, where is that?
The green what?
What you have on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
You're on page 56 of it. What is that? Where can I find?
Oh, this is a PowerPoint that, by the way, I see what you mean, page 56. This PowerPoint, let me change my screen. Oh, every week, I create these PowerPoints to tell you kind of what to do. And so if you go to Canvas and click on download the class presentation, this is the class presentation that I'm talking about.
Under modules, or what's it?
No, just the homepage. Just go to the homepage.
Okay.
And then right there, you'll see the most important links. And one of them is download class presentations. So click on download class presentations.
I clicked on that and I didn't get to it.
And then here you have every week.
Clicked on that.
Every week you have the class presentations. If you
I have to
were to
click
come
on
week,
it.
week 2, week 3, as you can see, week 4 is not there yet because it'll be there tonight. So if I were to download this one, you'll see the one that I projected last week. And if you scroll over here, you have the Zoom class recording. This is
Okay.
last week's class. This is this week's, the first week. So we've had 3 classes. There's my recording of the first week, the second week, the third week. If you go to today's week, which is week 4, there is nothing yet. The recording isn't there yet. And the class presentation isn't there yet. It'll be there by the end of tonight. By tomorrow morning, you
I
should
was
see it
looking
there.
everywhere for it.
That's why I show it on screen and then I give it to you to download later with all the steps. Okay, so you can go to all the steps, everything I've said in the past in this folder here, in this link. So once again, how you get to this, in the home link, you go to download class presentations or Zoom class recordings. It's the same page that gives you the recordings. Okay. All right. Victor, is there a VDI link on the syllabus page? No. To get to VDI, to do this on VDI, you first have to connect to VDI. Inside of VDI, then you open Chrome and you come to Canvas. Okay, so I believe class 1, were you here the first week, Victor? Yeah. That day, I think I explained all about VDI the first day, or was it the second day? When did I do VDI? Anyway, doesn't matter. The whole point is that one of those days I explained about VDI, but here you go. On week 2, I have a recording, not of the whole class, but just it's a video about how to access VDI and your student drive. So go over here, click on this, watch that recording, and that'll teach you how to get to VDI. Okay. Basically, the whole answer is open a tab on your browser and go to vmview.sbcc.edu. Sign in, sign in, sign in. This tells you all the different sign-ins. And by the time you get there, then you'll open Chrome, which is what I'm in, and you'll go to SBCC, get into Canvas. So now basically everything I'm showing you, I'm on VDI, I'm in Canvas. So I'll go to the link of the assignment and it all works. It's like I'm on this, it's like I basically drove to the school and I'm using their computer. So I'm doing everything on their computer. And it's really important then to do this because I remember at the beginning I said anyone who's on Mac needs to use VDI, needs to be on VDI. Okay. So now let's go everyone and click on the link for the Module 1 textbook project. Remember, and this is important, if you're on VDI, you have to download the files on VDI. So if you're a Mac person, you can't download these files onto your computer and then open up the VDI Word to do it because you won't have access to your files. You need to be inside of Canvas in VDI. So now when I click on Word Module 1 textbook project, I'm already in the Chrome that's in VDI. It takes me here. It reminds you, you must use the SAM start file, disregard textbook instructions. Okay, so it says it so many times, but just in case. And then say start. You click on start. So now we're actually doing it. So now everyone, I want you in here. Give me a yes once you're in the same spot that I am. I want to see yeses on everyone. Yeah, sorry, this is me trying for. I want you all to be here. Once you're here, give me a yes. Later, you'll just say, go do your textbook assignment, and you'll just know to do this. This time I'm walking you through the whole process. But this part, do it today. You have 2 weeks to complete your assignment, but just do this part today. Get your files downloaded, do everything with me today so you're ready to go. Give me a yes when you're here. Flor, Rocio, Jacelyn, Sue, ask me how to get here. I don't hear you, Sue.
What page is that? I don't see a page. Oh, you're on a
Okay.
computer.
You go to your assignments, which I like going to the syllabus, but you could also do it from modules. You can do everything either from your syllabus or from modules, right? And so here you can click on the link for the textbook project in your module week 4. Do you know what I'm showing you? Does this make sense? Sue,
Textbook project module link 4, you said.
in week 4, you can click on it here. Or for those of you who prefer, which I kind of prefer, you can go to your syllabus, which is just on your homepage, and click on the link from in here. But it'll be on the due date of next week, right here, which is same. It's the same link. It's basically module 1 textbook project. And it's called Word 2019 because remember that's the Professional Pro Word 2019 is the version that we're using, but it's okay if you're using 365. Module 1 textbook project. Okay, so once you click on that, and I want to see yeses on everyone. And if you don't have a yes to give me, then I'll help you get here. And then over here, it'll take you to Cengage. So once you get here, Sue, are you watching? Once you click on the link here, then you need to do start. And that takes you to this page, right? So can you all tell me, those of you who are not here, remember, that's the point of today. Make sure you know how to get to your assignment. So Victor, are you trying to get into VDI maybe? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now.
All right, Armando, how about you?
Yeah, I'm in.
So you're in this page, give me a yes. Sue, if not, I'll help you. So Sue, do you want to share your screen if you need, or Victor, I can help you. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show everyone now this next few steps. And then after that, I can start helping people individually. So here we go. It says download all. What's going to download is these 2 projects, the start file and the support file. That's the photo. This here is where you can click to get from here to the ebook, which click download all. Since I'm on VDI, wants to download multiple files, say okay. And so 2 files downloaded. Since I'm on VDI, these files downloaded, VDI means I'm at the school computer, these 2 downloaded on my school computer. That's all really VDI means. It's like I went into the school to use their computers. So if I want to see where they are, I can go into the download here into the file explorer, open the file explorer. And if I go into downloads, there they are. They're in
I have a
downloads.
question.
Yes.
I have taken the Windows 10 exam, and I don't know if it's just because I get 2 attempts, but I went back to look at like the page that it's on, and it says that it didn't like give me a score, and then it said that it needs to be like this tool needs to be loaded in a new browser window.
When you take it the second time, so if I go back to this page, I can't click on it again. I have to like refresh. Is that what you mean?
No, I just finished taking the exam.
Uh-huh.
And I got 30 out of 30, but I went back to like my dashboard and it didn't like show me that it was completed, but I submitted it. And it's saying that like, it says I have no attempts, but I just did it and I completed it all.
If you just did it, it takes a little bit of time to go all the way to Canvas. Is that what you mean? Like you just finished it right now while we were speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it won't show up instantly. It'll if I go to my grade book, I'm sharing my screen right now, so I don't want to. If I go to my grade book, it'll show as undone, but you know, maybe in half an hour, just keep an eye on it and I'll check. It takes a while to go from Sam. But you didn't, why did you hit submit? And it's 30 out of it's 50 points. So I'm just trying to why did you hit submit? You never have to hit submit.
I finished it. It was 30 questions. I got 30 out of 30, and I think it just said like submit or something.
Are you talking about the computer concepts one or the Windows 10?
No, the Windows 10 one.
I just want to make sure you did the exam and not the training.
I'm pretty sure I did the exam.
Because if you completed 30 out of 30, it self-submits. It tells you, you have completed the exam. So,
Yeah, that's what it said. And then it said this
oh,
is
okay.
being submitted.
Okay. As long as it told you that. I thought you had to force submit it. If not, that meant
No,
something was
no.
missing. Okay. Yeah. So then it'll come through. Remind me in, I don't know, 10 minutes to 25 minutes. I'll check.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. I thought you were asking about this one, and that's why it got me confused. Okay. So guys, I love questions, but like that totally threw me off of the subject I was talking about, which got me a little bit of time I was talking about how to get these files. Okay. So hang on. I thought it was questions about this and it got me. So I was explaining where to find these files. You can just click on this and it'll just open up in Word. That's one option. But my goal is to teach you how to use Windows. And if you just click over here and it opens up, you might just not know where that assignment lands. You know what I'm trying to say? Like literally, I'll click on here and Word will open up. So the most important thing for me is to teach you where assignments are. Why? Because this assignment is in your downloads folder. And if you are on VDI, so for the half of you guys that are on VDI, is that a good place for your files? Oh, I'm seeing Eric saying no. Good. Why is that? Why is that not a good place for your files?
Because they get wiped out.
They'll get wiped out. Mhm. So say you start this assignment today and it's 77 pages and you want to go study on something else, you can save it. You come back tomorrow. It's a slight chance it's still there. There's a big chance it's not. If you come back in 2 or 3 days, there's a high chance it's not there anymore, depending on when City College does their cleaning, right? So you do not want to leave it there. So for those of you at home, leave it wherever you want. The best thing you can do is learn file management and put it in the folders, the comp Word one, because especially when you start needing help, us tutors and me, we say, well, where's your file? You go, I don't know, where's my latest file? And you open up and maybe you already corrected it 5 times, but you open up the oldest one. It's like, file management means knowing the file you're working on, right? So you keep submitting the wrong one or something like that. That happened again many times. So what we need to do is make sure that these files end up in the right place, right? So if I open up from this little actual little triangle here, this PC, and I head down to student S drive. If I click on that little triangle to open my student S drive, I should have my Comp 101. So now I'm opening Comp 101 and I'm going down to Word. So if I do this until I find Module 1, now what I can do is I can grab these guys and put them in there in Module 1. So I can just do it one at a time or both at the same time. I'll grab one. I'm going to drag it over to Module 1, drop it in there. And then I'm going to go to the support file and drop it in there. Now, these we can keep or not in the downloads folder. It doesn't matter. But the whole point is that I should be working on the ones in Module 1. Go to Module 1. Now, this one is safe. This one is actually my good one to begin working with. Okay. Now, in this example, got this test student and I won't be able to submit it because it's not the one I actually need. In order to show you how to submit, I'm going to delete these because I actually need the ones where I signed in. So I'm going to delete these 2 files and I'm going to go in again to this module and I'm going to launch as a student and have them give me this. I apologize. This is me having to submit the assignment as a test student and not as a teacher for it to let me launch the. Okay, so now, all right. So now it should have. Why doesn't it have my name? All right. Well, maybe it'll still work. Last time I had the test student, it just didn't allow me to. Okay. All right. So I've moved them to the right place and hopefully it'll work. Okay. So now someone's asking me, so am I downloading this file and renaming it? Yes. This is the good old start file. This is the start file. This is what's called, see, start file. When they say do not open a new blank document, start from your start file, this is your start file. And right now it's called new Microsoft Word document test student. But by the time you submit it, it's got to have this name, SC_WD_1_ flyers formatted _ test student. That is the name it's expecting. Does that make sense? So I have a good tip here. So it was a very good time to ask that question, Sue, because the moment you download it with this name, I highly recommend not waiting until the book tells you how to name it, because then it's a long name and so many people just don't write the name right. I highly recommend to expected file name. That's because I already saved it. Expected file name, to select right there the name, right? If you do a right click and copy, okay? So for us VDI people, it's gonna, hey, click here to confirm the copy. So, okay, so select this name, right click to copy. This is just me being a few step ahead of time. Going back to where I downloaded the files, selecting that name. Remember how we taught you last time to rename? Right click, rename, and paste the file name. Now I'm stopping here to make sure you're all watching me. The only problem with this is sometimes people end up getting the DOCX 2 times. See that? Because the file already have it and you just copied it and put a second one. So be very aware of that. You do not want 2 DOCXs nor 2 periods. You want only one. When I click away, that's it. Your file name is going to be whatever dash your name, like Eric Munoz or Sue Alguez, right? So there you go. You've done the renaming. So at least the file is correctly named now. So if you do that from the beginning, you'll never have that problem, which for some people, they're waiting to submit until 11:55 and they submit and then the file was named wrong. And next thing you know, they didn't get their submission in before 11:59, which I'm sure none of you guys are going to do. But just in case, deal with that problem now. Rename it correctly. This is the expected file name. If you just grab this bit without grabbing the DOCX and copying from there, then you can go in and here, rename it, and you're ready to go. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to double click from here and I can open the file. And when I open it, all that big file naming, all that big start file, but when I double click on it, Word is going to open up and it's going to be a blank file. So the important thing is that this is where you start by adjusting the margins and writing everything you need to write. Okay. And this is it. This is where you start. Okay. Does that make sense, you guys? Now, I'm going to go ahead and wait until you've all got here. You don't need to wash your hands. You need to first change the margins and whatnot. Right now, I just want to give you an example. I'm going to save this. And I can save it either by clicking on this little icon right there, or I can go to File and Save, or I can do a Control S. For whatever many reasons, I've just saved that file. Now, instead of writing wash your hands, what if I already did, 77 pages of assignment and I'm ready to go? Yeah. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to submit it. So I'm going to go back to my computer. So this might be 2 days later, 3 days later, 20 minutes later. Some of you guys, you know what? These assignments, even for someone who knows it all, do not take 20 minutes. They take, because it's many pages, quite a while. So this now is a segue. If this were a movie, we just cut in time. Now I'm done with my 77 pages of assignment and I'm ready to submit it. So I'm going to come over here to the same assignment, click on the assignment again. I still haven't submitted, so it still tells me I have 10 assignments. Hit start as if I were starting the assignment, but now I'm ready to submit it. Okay. So I'm going to click here to browse my files. And I'm going to go to my S folder, Comp 101, Word, Module 1. And here it is. This is what I worked on, you know, for as many hours as I worked on. And I'll say open. And once I submitted it, and you can always look at the time, and it really helps to know if it's the right submission, 7:21 p.m. And if I look at the time, yep, it's 7:21 p.m. It's today's date. This is what I just submitted. And then I'll say save, submit. Yay. Submission successfully graded. And now I'm going to do these screenshots before I could, because I didn't have my assignment with me. I'm going to put these in the PowerPoint. So is that enough? No, I have no idea if I did well or not. This just means you submitted. So right here under attempt number 1, I'll go to my graded summary report. Now, there's also a thing called study guide. So let me show you what each one of these are. The graded summary report is the most important one. Graded summary report. It downloaded. I don't know if you saw this little thing blinking. It downloaded into my downloads folder, by the way, but this time I'm going to open it from here just so that you see Plan B. Just open it from here. And it opens. And it's my report. Remember, we did a report for the hello document, and it just showed us 3 little points. Now, basically, I got 2 out of 100. Just for putting the words, wash your hands here, I got 2 points. But that's it. Look at everything else is wrong. Why is it wrong? Because I didn't do it, of course. But see, it doesn't tell you what you did wrong. It just repeats the instruction. It says, repeats, adjust margins of document should be formatted using narrow margins. So that one means that you didn't put in narrow margins. Then I got 1 right. Type the text. Yay. I typed the text and I remembered the exclamation point. And then the word how was not found. The word whatever, whatever, whatever. So I need to keep doing it. Okay. So you use this. And this is important, you guys. Right now I have 2 files open. I have my report. Okay. And I also have, if I scroll all the way to the bottom of my report, there's not much in this really, but if I keep scrolling down, basically these are all the tasks that I need to accomplish. Then at the very bottom, it shows me what I submitted, right? And what I submitted were just the words, wash your hands. And over here, it'll tell you point by point what you did right or wrong or stuff like that. So when you have much more stuff here, this might be useful to you to just figure out what they're talking about. Sometimes it'll just say something that you don't even know where to find it. So this little thing in the bottom helps you, but there's not much there. So of course there's no. All right, so this is my report. If I head down to my taskbar, you'll see that I have opened the document that I need to work with, and I have opened 2 Word documents, my report. So I can go back in here and start making all the corrections they're telling me I need to make because I'm missing everything. You forgot to change your margins. So I'll go over to layout. I'll go over to margins. I'll choose narrow, which was the first thing that they complained about that I didn't do. Okay. So if I were to submit it again right now, which I'm not going to, right, then I would probably get 4 out of 100 because I got that first step right. Okay. Once you finish all the corrections that you think you can do, you go back to the projects, you submit again. And so actually, now that we're talking about it, maybe I should, that what you do see. So I'm going to save again. I'm going to go up here. And now I did make a change. So I'm going to click in here again. I'm going to submit the same one. But this time, this one came in at 7:25. So now I've used 9 submissions, another attempt, submit. Don't forget to submit. Once you see green, attempt number 2 has just happened. So now let's check on the report for attempt number 2. Okay, I'll open it up. Yay, I was right, 4 out of 100 because I got 2 of them right. And so on and so forth. Don't use them up this way. Definitely first finish your assignment before you start submitting. But there you go. And now questions. This process is what we did with the hello. Some of you are guys already got it and you're like totally, yeah, I got it. I understand. You're already working on your assignments. You're already doing your trainings. And some of you, this is the first time you've heard it. So that's great. Just so you know, if you know that which I'm talking about, you don't need to necessarily do it. But the first few weeks, I'm very detailed with every single step of what you need to do, because there's all different levels of people in this class. And some of you guys like, yeah, got that, and others don't. So please be anyway, be aware of that. Okay. You're welcome to work at your own pace. Now, the important thing is to know by date, by time. Many times what happens is people leave and they come back 2 days later and start working on it. And maybe you start working on a version that you had left in the downloads folder and it wasn't the latest one. And then you have the same problems again. So please, please keep track of where your files are, which one you're working on, and which one that you have already corrected that you need to keep moving on. Okay. Because again, I can't tell you how many times the frustration of thinking I already got that. And I was like, yeah, but you open an old file. So you have to correct it again. All right. All right. So now let me back to my PowerPoint here for a second. This that I just showed you is basically the process that we just went through. So the question now is to leave or not to leave. It is break time, right? And so now people who want to go on break and come back, great. People who want to go on break and not come back, that's great. But just so that you can make a final decision on whether to come back or not, let me show you what I'm going to cover after break. Okay. So especially if you've been using Word for years and you know this a lot, just watch a couple more slides. I'm going to show you all the tasks that we're going to do next. And for this, I need to share. I'm going to actually see if I can share. I'm going to have to reshare my screen. Hold on. Here you go. All right. So basically, these are the text, the slides that I'm going to show next. Oh, that's a mess. Are you guys seeing the messed up screen just like me?
Yeah.
Let me try that one again. Is that working now? Okay. That was weird. Okay. So basically, I've got 3 pages, I've got 5 or 6 pages of what I'm going to cover. And if you know all of this, don't stay. And if you feel like, 90% of that I don't know, then come back from break. Okay. So basically, the parts that people seem to have issues with a lot is the whole changing theme colors. So formatting documents, spelling, all that is fine, but a lot of people get stuck on what's the whole point of a theme. And so if nothing else, hang out for the conversation about theme, because it really is something that I'd say 90% of you guys have never heard about. Some of you guys don't know how to insert photos and resize, reformat, and all that. So we'll do some of that work. That said, remember, this is not due until 2 weeks from now. So next week, I'm very happy to help with a lot of this stuff if you need more of this too. So adding a page border, not a border to the image or anything, but to the page. That's something that most people have never done. Or adjusting paragraphs, lining, and spacing. Okay, that's also something that a lot of people have never done. I'm just saying the places where people tend to have issues. Okay. Then formatting marks, hidden characters. That's also one of those, like, what are you talking about? What's a hidden character? Why do I need formatting masks? So if this you've never heard, then hang with me. selecting and moving text around, that you might think you know, but I've got some really good tricks. Instead of clicking and dragging to select, I have like a lot of good tricks about selecting really quickly to drag entire paragraphs and stuff. I'm going to show you that. Spelling, okay? And some people know how to check spelling, but others don't. And then how to change case. That one always gets people in the exam. It says change case, and people are like, hey, what are you talking about? So if you don't know what change case means, I'll explain to that too. And then how to add effects to your type. So there's like text effects, which is not the same as bold and underline and all that, but there's actually text effects you can do that have its own little window. And again, we had talked about theme colors, so theme is going to be a big part of it. All right, and then once you insert the pictures, how to resize them proportionally, to how to crop, how to apply picture styles and effects and stuff like that to your pictures. I'm going to show you that. And then, as I said before, page borders, paragraph spacing, centering pages, and things like that. So this is all stuff that you're going to learn. How to find a print preview, by the way, on a Mac or an PC is different. So if you're a Mac person, you have no idea how to get a print preview on one or the other. Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about after break. But as I said, there's some people who might be even more newer with Word, so it might get a bit more basic than that, depending on who stays after break. And if you specifically have some questions about some of these, like what you can do is start working on your assignment, right? And then when you come upon something you don't know, I'm here explaining some stuff, you can interrupt and say, excuse me, I need help with this or that. And just kind of, it's lab time. You can also work on your training for your computer concepts exam, which truly is what's due next week. And if you come upon concepts that you don't understand, you can also interrupt me and ask me. So now that everyone knows what we're going to be doing after break, I'm going to give us a 15-minute break. And I'm having an issue with this stopping. All right, and so what time is it? It's 7:33. So be back at 7:48. I didn't write that correctly. And there you go. Now, Cassandra, can you make sure to come back? We can go onto a page, onto our own little chat room so that we can talk for a little bit, because I need to have a word with you, okay? You still there, Cassandra? Hello? I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I want to make sure that anyone who has any questions. So Victor, I can help you with VDI. Anyone else who hasn't finished the exam, okay? Now we're talking the Windows 10 exam. If you have questions about it, because for some reason or another you couldn't complete it, come back after break and we'll talk about your exams, okay? All right. Oh God, you got in, Victor. Okay, great. All right, so I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. All right, it's time. I'm back. And I'm uploading today's today's PDF right now for those who actually give me a second while I do that, but everyone come on back. And seeing how some people stayed and others left, which is great either way, as long as sometimes the people I need to talk to leave, and that's twice now that someone I need to talk to left. All right, that's not good. Not good at all, but anyway, give me a second here. I'm uploading this presentation so that anyone who needs it can have it. Remember the place that Sue asked me that I just showed you? I'm about to upload today's presentation there. On week 4. Okay. And there we go. Oh. That's weird. Okay, that's not going to work. Did I just lose ARG? I think I just lost my. That didn't work at all. Okay, I just lost my Horizon, my VM view. 1 second, my VDI. There we go. It's coming up. There we go. It's trying to edit on the one that's in VDI, but again, my files, for example, are not on VDI. They're in my real computer. So I forgot that I was demoing on VDI. So there you go. I'll make the mistakes. So now I'm gonna. There we go. All right. So, all right. I see your message, Eric. Cool. And everyone else. Okay, great. So, oh, I thought I had my video on this whole time. So, all right. So Flor and Rocio, Victor, Eric, Sue, and Shane. Just to make sure that you are truly here and not that you just left without turning off your connection. Give me a yes if you're here, or a little thumbs up, anything, some response. Just to make sure you're live and on the other side. Sometimes people just kind of walk up and forget to leave. And then I don't, I'm asking, hey, let me know if you did this, and there's no answer. And I know you're just not there. Great. Cool. You're all here. So awesome. Thank you. Out of extreme trying to make sure that what we do next is useful for everyone. So what I need to know from you guys is so answer me in the chat. How many of you guys are here because you need help with something that's due today, or help with something that I've already explained today that wasn't clear or something like that? Or B, you're here to tell me because you want to hear about Word, just so that I can see what your what your interest is in having stayed, because sometimes I'm talking, I'll just launch into explaining about Word and someone who's been sitting there waiting for, for help with an assignment or something. So B, if we're going by multiple choice, that would assume that you want to hear about Word. I'm assuming that that's what B means, Victor. Yeah. All right.
I have
Cool.
a question.
Yeah, Eric.
For the assignment for the computer, like buying the computer for someone, do we have to do that one on the on the chat that's there, or do we have to send it by like warm document?
No, in the chat. So when you go there, what you don't see anyone else's answers because it hasn't been
No.
done yet. But once you do have an answer, you'll see that I'm going to head over to it. So people have already posted their answers here. So these are their answers, right? But if you're a student that hasn't yet answered, it just kind of looks empty, right? Because it just looks like this. So you need to hit reply. This is someone who hasn't done it yet. Hit reply, and then you write your answers. Maybe you wrote it somewhere else. But when you're done, you hit post reply, and then you'll be able to see everyone else's answers. Okay. Then you'll see that everyone else has all of their answers about what they're going to get and how come and why and that kind of thing. Yeah. I'm hearing, is someone talking with someone else in the background maybe, or is someone trying to talk to me? I can't make sure. Which is fine. If you have noise in the background, just turn your sound up. I just was trying to make sure that I wasn't missing out on someone talking to me. All right, cool. So everyone else seems to be saying that you want to hear about Word. How about you, Flor? Is it about Word, or do you have questions about assignments or exams or trainings or something like that?
Yeah, actually, I just want to learn about some like a couple things from the list that you showed before.
Okay.
But
Perfect.
I think I just asked for help when I needed to the tutors.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking you to leave. You can just stay and listen. I just wanted to make sure that like Eric had a question about an assignment. I'll deal with that quickly and then I'll just launch into Word. I don't want you to sit there waiting for me to finish Word to get a question. And so, but no, you can either ask me in the middle of me explaining, or you can just listen in with half an ear while you do your work. And then when you get to something you don't know, then you can ask me about that, right? So it's fine either way. So I'm going to go ahead and open Word. And I'm actually working with an empty file right now. So go ahead and don't open the blank one that's the work assignment, the one that we were working on. Make sure it doesn't have a name up there. So if you have the one that we had downloaded opened up, so say that you did have this the new Microsoft file opened up, you would see at the top, even though it's empty, right? At the top, you would see that it has the name that it came with, right? So that even though it's blank, the file name already has a different name. So if you have that one open, you can go over here to File and then just say open, sorry, not open, but new. Open would open some existing file versus new would open something that is completely blank. Now, another thing is that if you're a Mac person, how many of you are Mac people here? Victor, Flor, Sue, or Eric, are you guys Mac people at all? Shane? No. Okay, because if you're a Mac person, Victor, you're a Mac person, yeah. You might notice that, yeah, you had mentioned before, that's why you're in VDI now. On the Mac, Word does not have this file right here. It starts at home. Like home, insert, design, these are the tabs we have, but the file doesn't exist. So let me be clear. File, this first tab, you go into file and out of it with this arrow, back out. Okay, so when you hit file, it's like the whole Word changes and you're not in the document anymore. This is about handling the file itself, like saving it, changing its name, stuff like that. Has nothing to do with my document. Maybe it's a document about grandma's chocolate chip cookies recipe. Doesn't matter what it is that you're writing. This is all about the file itself. How do you name it? If you open it, if you save it, if you create with it, if you print it, if you view it, that's what this is. On the PC, then you click this arrow to get out of there. Now on a Mac, you actually have the word file up on the top of your monitor, and you do file open from up there, and all of that is from the top of your monitor right next to where the Apple icon is. Okay, so this tab does not exist on a Mac, but the same exact things can be done. So it just starts from here. All right, so other than that, what matters here in this document, just to know from you guys, how just remind me of those who are present, how many of you have not used Word? Like you might have used Google Docs, or you might have used something similar, but you haven't used Word at all. Then say yes. And if you have used it, then like Flor said, she wants to learn a few things. So that means you've probably used it. So then say no, you've used it. But say yes if Word is new to you today. Okay. Like you've probably opened and written on something on the computer, but there's so many different programs you can write on. But if Office Word is new to you. Okay, good. So it's 2 of you. And then the rest of you used Word prior to my 20 years ago. So yeah, probably very different at this point, even though it's similar-ish enough. Flor, on the other hand, you've used it. Shane, have you used Word Office for Word from Office before? All right, just to know how much to explain, let me put the little spotlight on. I'm going to teach you some things about Word, but also some of the things that I showed you on the PowerPoint, which are things that are just different that most people, even if they used it before, they don't know. So here we go. The cursor is that blinking thing that's showing up on your screen, and that blinking thing is where the next thing you type is going to write. The other day, someone kept talking about the cursor versus the pointer versus the mouse, and it was driving me crazy because I kept saying, no, the mouse is this thing that moves around. The cursor is that thing that just sits there blinking, waiting for you to start writing. Okay, so that is the cursor. And it matters because sometimes maybe particularly during the exam or stuff, it'll say move the cursor here or there or something like that. And how do you move your cursor? By clicking your mouse, right? So if I were to double click my mouse down here, I have moved my cursor way down there. And if I double click up there, I've moved my cursor. So my cursor moves to where I double click. See that? And I double click. So I move my cursor by double clicking my mouse, but the mouse and the cursor are 2 different things. Now my mouse has this little white red dot there just because I'm trying to make it more visible to you guys, but yours should just be a little line. Okay. And then notice that my cursor changes when I'm in this document. It looks like a big old capital I. That's an insertion point. Versus when I move into the margins, it turns into an arrow. And then the whole rest of the time it's an arrow. That's just my mouse. It's like my hand reaching out to grab a tool. But once I'm inside past the margins of this document there, see here I am, anywhere but I can start writing, then it turns into this cursor where I can start writing. And so insertion point, sorry, not cursor. So anyway, I'm going to double click and put my mouse way at the very topmost that I can double click. So if I double click wherever else up here, then it starts pointing out to something called the header, which we will be using in the future. So maybe double click down here, and then so if you double click in this top part, this header thing appears. So how do you get out of it? Either by clicking down here again or by clicking close header and then moving a little bit lower to double click. So this area is protected. The margin area over there is protected. Okay. So the whole assignment, if you noticed, it's page 111 talks about changing your margins. Well, it talked about going up here to layout and going over to margins and changing your margins. So basically, just to show you what margins are, is basically what's the safe area to write. The normal area leaves 1 inch on all 4 sides. The narrow needs less if you need more space, or moderate. It's just different options for different margins. So in the assignment, they ask you to do a narrow margin. So just for the sake of mirroring our assignment, we're going to click on the word narrow. See how my cursor now moved all the way there? because now I have only ½ an inch available top and bottom to write. You can keep moving this. Sometimes you can make your own. If you don't want any of these, you can make your own. It's like if you don't want ½ an inch all around or 1 inch all around, you want, you know, a certain weird margins, you would do it down there. But most of the times we use the ones that are available. The other thing over here in the layout is you can see orientation page. So this page is only showing, if I scroll down, a bit of my page. So how do I see my entire page? Well, you can head over down here to the zoom tool way in here, the bottom right corner, where I have this thing that if I click minus, 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 I'm backing out of the document until I see my entire page, or plus, 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 I'm kind of getting into the document. You can also grab this and just drag it in and out to see, you know, more or less, but that gives you an idea of what you're seeing. If you're seeing it this small, you probably won't be able to see much what you're writing, but it'll give you an overall idea for a flyer or something like that, how to see everything. So I'm going to show you that another way to do that is you can hit your, sorry, I'm on a Mac, on a PC, it's different. You can hit your, I'm going to show you how you can do your Command Control Plus, but it's not right. I forget this is a PC. On a Mac, you can do that in a different way. Okay, so then let's just go back to the middle point, which is basically around 100%. That's kind of a good way to start writing. I have, we're going to be going through a lot of these documents later, but right now, a lot of these different choices later, but right now I just want to show you the variety of choices I have here. There's so many tools that they can't show them all to you. So this area here is called the ribbon. For some reason they gave it that name, but keep that in mind because that name you will be told, hey, do something or something else on the ribbon. And that's what this is. It's this set of tools that as I click on each one of these words, the different set of tools appears. So say that you have, you know, a lot of different tools in different drawers. It's like opening a different drawer for a different set of things that you can do, right? But the spot in the ribbon that we spent most of our life in, so to say, would be in the home tab. So that's kind of the tab that we're going to be in most of the time. Let's go ahead and write something in here. Let's say this is an example of and go ahead and make a couple of mistakes. So of instead of my, and I'm going to say writing, and I'm going to kind of write it all wrong. Okay, so go ahead and make a sentence like that. That's a bit of a mess. That's all typed kind of weird. Make a couple, you know, purposeful mistakes, and maybe some that you just made just because you were not typing well. So I'm going to show you how to do some selections and some corrections the most efficient way. Okay. So now, right now, as you can see, the cursor keeps moving with the things that I'm typing. And now I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see this a little bit better. And how I zoom in again, I go here to this little arrow that I showed you at the bottom, so I can see things a little bit better. Now that does not mean, and then I go up and down by scrolling. So if you have a mouse that you can scroll, that's fine. Otherwise use the scroll bar. But this is not making my writing any bigger or smaller. It's just, I'm getting closer or farther, right? So this is still, this is not necessarily changing. And what we're talking about is my font size. So fonts is this text that you're seeing is your font, meaning the design of the text, what it looks like. It's a certain style. You can have a really fancy font or a really boring font or a cursive script font or a hand typed font. So font means the style of the text. And you'll find out what style or font you're using by going up here to this name right there. And it's telling me that this is Calibri body. So I can select this whole thing and change the font. So remember I told you that if you stayed, I'd show you some cool ways of selecting. Well, if I just want to select the way that people normally know how to select would be that you kind of click and drag your mouse across stuff from beginning to end, and see how now I've got like a grayed out area. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. But that's a typical way of selecting. but it's, you know, especially if you have a big paragraph, it takes quite a while to click and drag and do this. We just have a couple of words. So in order to select this entire sentence right now, if you just do 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, that was a quick way to select the entire sentence, a triple click. Okay, so try again, 1, 2, 3, and then to deselect, just put your mouse in some of this neutral area. Click one more time and you've deselected. Now, if you want to get just one word, do a double click. So double click gives me that one word. Okay, so now by double clicking in the word writing, I got that. By double clicking in and I got that. By double clicking in example, I got that. But if I do 1, 2, 3, I can select the entire paragraph. Once we have some more words here and more stuff, then you can see other ways of selecting. But the last one I'm going to show you right now, go ahead and click again out in the middle of nowhere. And look what happens if I put my mouse in the margins. I'm going to put my mouse in the margin right here, turns into an arrow. And then I just kind of point with my mouse is in an arrow, not when it's in this shape out here, click one time, and then I grab the entire line. Okay, there's just different quick ways to do one word, 1, 2, 3, the entire paragraph, or just down here, give it a click on the left side, and that gives you the whole line. All right, so now let's either of those ways, let's select everything. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to change the font. But watch, I can change it way up here. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up here to where it says Calibri Body. I'm going to click on this little arrow next to the name and just choose anything else, whatever, that one. Okay, so now I've changed my font size. But watch again what's going to happen if I triple click right here. And then immediately see that little box that appeared over there that says the word Algerian, B and I. That's a little quick tips. Suddenly I'm having a toolbox that appears right at the tip of my mouse. See how it's right where my mouse is? And it's telling me, oh, you don't need to go all the way up there to change the font. You can change it right here. So as long as it's still there, I can click over here and change it to something else. I'll change it to whatever, agency, yada, yada, right? And when I'm done with it and I click away, it disappears. It's just like a quick little access. So now I'm going to triple click again, and there it is. What if this time I don't want to use it? I want to use something else. The moment I move my mouse away, it disappears and it goes, oh, okay, you don't need me, it disappears. So it's just a point of a box that helps you when you need it. So if I do 1, 2, 3 and use it to make this B, to make it bold, that's great. Then I want to make my font a bit bigger, and I'll choose here in the number and make my font a little bit bigger. I can do that there. But if I move my mouse out of the way and try to choose something else, it just disappears. Now it leaves me with having to do it up here. Okay, so I can now go up here and change my fonts to one of these guys right there. So that's, I'm changing my font, and I'm changing my size, and I'm changing the thickness by using bold, or I by using italics, U by using underline. Now, how do I get rid of these things that I just did? Well, it's like an on and off switch. I can just go back and click again the U to get rid of the underline, but this has to be selected. So if I want to get rid of this bold, I can't do it now because nothing's selected. I need to triple click on everything again. And once it's selected, now I click on the B again to get rid of the bold. I click on the I again to get rid of the italics. Now this font was kind of bold already because it's called Artifact Heavy. So that's, so now then I'm going to change to this little Devanagari. So anyway, I've changed to a lot of different fonts, and each time my text had to be selected for that to happen. Now, another thing that can happen is I can change the color of my text. So I can go over here, and if I just click on this, it'll give me whatever color is there. So right now my color is red. Your color might be green, blue, who knows? When I click on that, it gives me that color. But if I want a different color, then I go to the little arrow right next to it, and then I can choose any of these colors. So now I want purple or yellow or orange or green or whatever it is that I want. Notice that since I chose green, now that's green. It doesn't say red anymore. So if I want red, I'll have to go find it from here. So the last color used is what pops in there. Okay. So if I now want they assume that I'm going to keep wanting green, so it's easy to catch. But if I want red, I have to go back in here to now choose red. And that stays red. But if what I chose is black, then that stays black. So that always sits itself in the last color I've used. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and leave this, say, red. There we go. And I'm going to click away. You don't have to do the whole thing. You can just do one word. I can select one word and make this one word be green, and then make this word be a different font. So I'm going to choose Artifact Heavy for that one. And for this one, I'll choose, say, Calibri Light, right? And I'm going to make this Calibri Light be really big. And I'm also going to make it be purple. Okay, so now I've changed different sizes, different fonts, different everything. And so if I actually want to know what these fonts are or not, I need to click on each of these parts, because watch up here. And this says Adobe Devangari right now. But if I click on the word writing, it changed to Artifact. And I click on it changed to Calibri. So all I know to recognize what I'm doing or using is to click on it. And then up here, it'll tell me I'm at 11 points Adobe Devangari. Here I'm at 18 points Calibri. But if I select the entire paragraph, it goes blank. It doesn't know what to tell me, because I have a whole combination of different fonts and sizes, so that just goes blank. And that's just because you can't choose. There's more than one. Does that make sense? All right, now I'm going to go back in here and just choose only one to make things easier. I'm going to go back to Calibri for everything. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to Boring Gold Black for everything. And I'm going to go here in size, and I'm going to go back to like 18 points for everything. So now I'm kind of back to everything being kind of boring and identical, but I had to kind of re-choose everything. Now, you might have noticed that there's one thing I haven't pointed to, two things I haven't pointed to that we're going to be using this section, which is these guys over there. So I'm going to select everything again. And I did it this time by clicking here on the arrow. And now I'm going to show you this highlighting right there. If I click on this, the whole background this time got colored instead of the letters. And that's like as if I was grabbing my highlight marker. I can also highlight in green or another, typical. So once you select and change color, you need to select again. Okay. And so now when you're done, you select again and you just say nothing, no color. Okay. And it goes away. So that's the background of the font that gets selected versus the color of the font, right? To make sure that when you click only one time, if you want to be done, if you click twice, you might have this little like marker at the tip of your mouse. Like right now I have a little marker, so I can just drag and select something, but make sure you don't have that anymore by double clicking again until it's not gray over there. All right, so that's highlighter. And then the last thing I wanted to show you as far as text and fonts over here that matters is there are two more things I want to show you. One is, remember I talked about the text changing case. Well, changing case is this choice right here. So I'm going to go ahead and select all this text, and I'm going to go over to changing case. And what I can do is I can click on this and ask it to all be capitalized uppercase, the whole thing uppercase. I'm going to click on that, and the whole thing went to uppercase for big old yelling signs. Or I can go over here and I can use sentence case, which means that only the T is going to be capitalized. Or I can go ahead and do title case, which would be capitalize each word, right? So that's what changing case means, right? I'm going to go ahead and leave this as sentence. I can do everything lowercase, even the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and go to sentence case. And the last one here that I want to show you is this guy. This is the text effects that we were talking about. Now, beyond all of the other effects that we had here, underline or cross out or everything else that you've seen, this is the one that gives us fancy stuff, the text effects. And we're going to be using text effects for this flyer. So when I click on text effects, if my text is selected, I click on text effects, then I can just apply a whole bunch of different effects, cool or not, depending on your opinion, to my writing. I'm going to go ahead and make this all a bit bigger. Sorry. So you can see my text effects. I click, and as I hover over these different ones, it gives me, I'm not clicking on any of it. I'm just hovering to see what effect I get until I choose the one that I like, right? And the way it's going to work is, notice that when I hover over this one without clicking, it says gradient fill, blue, accent color 5, reflection. If I hover over this one, see that little tooltip? It says fill, blue, accent color 5, outline white, background color. If I click on this one, it says fill white outline. So what's going to happen in the assignment is going to tell you to choose the text effect, yada, 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 and you need to kind of hover over them until you find the one that says, oh, fill gold accent color 4, because that's the one that they're asking you to do. Does that make sense? So let's all choose this one, for example, filled gold accent color 4, soft bevel. And I click away. That's what's been done. Now, what if I want something just like this, but with a few things changed? And this is part of what they're going to say. You want this, but no, not totally like this. I want it a little bit different. So let's select the entire thing again, either by clicking here on the side, or remember, triple click, 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to go back to text effects, and I want to change just maybe the outline for it, or the shadow, or the reflection. I want to give it a reflection. This one didn't have reflection, but I want a reflection. So I'm going to add to this one, I'm going to add a reflection. I'm going to head over to reflection, and I'm going to try different reflection settings. And looks like there's this one, and there's this one. And notice that again, if my tooltip is on top of this one, it says full reflection, 4 points offset, or half reflection touching, or tight reflection, 4 points offset. You see that? So those tool tips are important because, again, and they happen when you hover, that means that's the kind of thing that you'll be asked to do. Change something in the settings by giving it the half reflection, 4 point offset. And that's the one that it'll be, for example. So I'll click on that. When I click away, there's my text effect with a reflection. Okay. So that's how you would change that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to actually get rid of that last change. And how I do that is by going to the undo. So I can undo this last change. I want to undo this reflection. And I can go that by going to this little back arrow there, or I like to use the shortcut that over here it says undo. Shortcut is tapping the control or command and then tapping the Z letter Z. So I'm going to do control and command and then tap the letter Z, and that is an undo. And if I tap the letter Z 2 times or 3 times, it keeps undoing. So control C, Z, the letter Z for zebra. You hold down the control key and you tap the letter Z with your other finger, and that's an undo. All right, I'm going to do a couple of corrections of all this font that I told you to type and make mistakes. So notice that the screen has been showing me all this time a little squiggle here, a red squiggle where there's 2 mistakes, and then a double blue line here. Okay, so that's word telling you something's wrong. Always, if there's a red squiggle, you should pay attention to it. It's always a typo, a spelling mistake, versus this blue line there is a grammar mistake. The grammar mistake, sometimes there might be poetic license for that, but in this case, a grammar mistake is probably that it has an extra space in between that and that. So how do I correct this? I can either just click in here and retype it because I know it, or I can right click And it's going to give me a few options right there of what this could possibly be. Maybe I tried to write thesis. Maybe I tried to write this is, or thesis, or this is. Oh, that's what I was trying to write. So I can just select it and it corrects it for me. I'm going to go to my next mistake and I'm going to right click. And maybe I was trying to write off or for or of or fog or fob. And yeah, it was for. So example. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was trying to write of. So I can undo that and right click and it was of that I was trying to write. An example of my writing. Okay. And then now the grammar one disappeared because this makes sense now. Right? So it wasn't about the space. It was about this making sense. But I have an extra space there, and go ahead and you guys in between two letters, put an extra space that shouldn't be there. If you didn't make that mistake. And how do you really know if you have an extra space or not that shouldn't be there? Well, you can eyeball it, especially when you have a lot of text that might not be good enough, or you can use the hidden characters. Remember, I said that I was going to talk about the formatting characters or hidden characters. You're going to be made to turn those on early on when you're writing. And what that means is you go over here to this little top paragraph marker right there, and you click on that one time, and it's like a backwards letter P. Okay, so this is where we were before, and over there's a backwards letter P. And some stuff just appeared. My spaces aren't spaces anymore. Now there's a little dot. It's a little bit hard with this text being in this funky format. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this text effect. So I'm going to select everything and get rid of the text effect. To do that, I have to go back to text effects, click on that. And then I can go back and say, oh, I would have to take all the text effects out one by one because I changed them. So go ahead and go back to no outline, no this, no that, no colors. So I'm gonna actually, for now, I'm gonna leave it because it's gonna be take longer to show you that. But I'm gonna write another line, go down here, and I'm going to write. I double clicked to create a new line. I'm writing another example line. And now everything I'm writing has like this little dot in between and has this thing at the end. And that, if I turn this on or off, I'm going to this formatting hidden marks. That looks like normal writing. And when I click again, those little lines and dots appear. So when you on your keyboard type a space, the computer has to track that there's an M over here and there's a W over there, but there's something in here. What is there? There's a space. You hit the key, you hit a key on the keyboard and it's a space. So when you try to click on it, you'll see it. That means that you typed a space. Normally we don't see it. If we were to print this, they would not show up. But visually it helps us see if there's a mistake. So for here, for example, by having two dots, I know that I hit twice the space bar. So now I can go in there and put my cursor in there, click and backwards one, and here click and go backwards one. And then I've been able to fix mistakes that I might have not noticed had I not had my hidden formatting markers on. See that? The only two formatting marks that we have here is the space and this one, which is the paragraph mark. This means that I've hit the return key to create a new line. So if I hit the return key to create a new line, I'm finishing a paragraph. If instead I keep writing until the word wraps itself down under to another line. So then now if I show you what I've been writing, let me go a bit slower. This is the end of the page and I'm not getting paragraph markers here. That's just normal wrapping. Okay. But if I hit return now to create another paragraph, then I'm going to get a little paragraph marker at the end of it. Okay. there's a paragraph marker at the end of each paragraph when I type the return or enter key on the keyboard. Okay, and all of this text is written with the hidden characters turned on, so it might be really confusing at first, so you guys can get accustomed to it by turning it off and on. And here I'm getting a grammar mistake. See how there's a blue line? And when I right click on it, it's telling me that maybe I have a space that should be in front of the key, but in fact it was that I should have not had that space in front of the enter. Okay, and then it's something's wrong, it's showing me, and now I know you can see and go, oh, I probably should have had that on, and now it goes away. So that's just a pointer, and sometimes the blue one is right and something the blue one is wrong. But if there's a typo, then it's always right. If there's a red typo, a red line, you should always, always, always fix it, because unless you do that, you'll have a typo. Now, the problem is when you have interesting names, right? So if I write, for example, oh, Rocio just left, but if I would have written her name, Rocio is a student, then in this case, I guess Word figured it out, but not, it doesn't always figure it out. It might think it was a mistake. I guess it's getting better at names, but like it isn't very good usually with foreign names and stuff like that, but I guess it figured it out. They're having longer dictionaries in these programs. All right, so that's just some basic working with letters and stuff like that. Most of that is always under the home setting. Now, most of what I just taught you is pretty much set in this area here called font. But notice that there's this gray line, and then here we have questions about paragraphs, and then here we have something that's styles, right? So we're going to be working a lot with styles next module, module 2. We're going to really work with styles. So I'm going to leave that explanation until module 2. But right now we're going to be working with some paragraphs and stuff like that. But also, what if what I was writing here, I want to imitate that exact font in here? How do I do that with having to guess again what I had written there? So one thing you can do is you can select a font sample that you like. I just click in there. You like this font sample, right? Whatever it might be, and you don't know, you weren't the one who did it, someone else did it, and you just want to see what it is, and you want to do it again. So you put your mouse in there, and you go over here to this little paintbrush. See where it says Format Painter? Right there's a little paintbrush. So you click on that paintbrush, and then you go over here and you just kind of click and drag across the bit that you want to have look like that, and then you can click away. So you've just painted that same format onto this little bit. Let me show you that again. I'm going to do Control Z. So you first select a sample of what you like, or you just put your mouse, click one time inside of what you like, as long as the cursor is in there. You turn on the Format Painter, and then you go and you select the stuff that you want to have that format, and click and drag. And then when you click away, you don't have to guess at what that was. Okay, that's the Format Painter. It becomes really helpful many times. All right. So any questions yet? I've noticed most people, this is a very beginning part of text, so a lot of people just decided to keep working. 2 of those people owed their assignments still. So that's good. Any questions, Sue or Shane? Meanwhile, I'll keep going a little bit. All good? Give me a little thumbs up or something. Make sure you're still there and that it's all working. Brain dead, says Sue. Yeah, it is. Brain died. Okay, if it's already dead or it already died, are you speaking for the net from the nether world, Sue? I know. All right, it is. Yeah, it takes a long time to hear. So these are some of the things. What I'm going to do. It has been a long day, and you guys had the exam, and some of you just took the exam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer to explain some of the other stuff, the stuff that's going to be in the assignment next week. I can just do a little bit longer, and then we can just sign out for today, because there's let me just do a couple more things that I think are really matter. I'm going to leave themes for next week. Most people aren't going to be doing the assignment this week. Most people are going to be focusing on the exam. So I'm looking at a couple. I'm going to do insert photographs next time and theme next time, which is kind of hard. And then let me just show you how to move selected text. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. One last thing, you guys, hang on, one last thing. So let's go and select one word. So I'm going to grab the word marker, right? No, marker. Let's go to, I'm going to select the word keyboard. Double click on the word keyboard. So I've selected the word keyboard. And now look at my mouse for a second. I'm going to put my mouse over the word keyboard again. And look at that. When it's selected, it turns into an arrow again. See? Now I can click on the word keyboard and just drag it up. And wherever I see my cursor, I let go and the word just moved over. I'm gonna actually change its color so you can really see it moving around. So I'm gonna give it a blue color. Okay. So I double click on the word keyboard and now I'll go back and drag it, and I'm gonna wait and see how I'm moving my cursor around. Wherever my mouse points, the cursor comes when I let go. There you go. The word keyboard word with me. I'm going to grab the word keyboard and I'm going to drop it. This time I'm going to double click to select it, and I'm going to drop it. By the way, when you double click and select it, you need to wait until your cursor changes back into an arrow. So back to it. I can drop it in the middle of, wow. I'm having a hard time grabbing it this time. Why is it not letting me? I did this 3 times already. I'm going to put it in the middle of this yellow thing, and as you can see, it keeps its own formatting. Okay, but then now it tells me, oh, well, this doesn't work, and keyboard, so it underlines that this doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, I'm going to drag it out of the way and put it back where it belonged. And there you go. Now you can take a whole paragraph and then drag the whole paragraph up, put it up at the top. Okay, so once something is selected, you can just grab it, drag it down, and put it somewhere else. Okay, I can put it at the end of that. I can put it at the top of that. Or I can just drag it back to where it belonged. Okay, so that's selecting and dragging and moving things around. All right. How did that go? Were you able to drag some text around, you guys? That's the last thing. I'll stop pushing your brain neurons for the time being. All good? Okay. All right. So last thing I'm going to say, please check on the inbox or your power or your email for messages from me. I've been writing messages to people, and some people have answered back, some people haven't. I know that I wrote to you, Shane, and I know that I wrote to Sue, and then you guys get them. And then when you answer, you know, but you have to check for emails, because it's not just in the PowerPoint, sorry, not just in the Gmail pipeline. You also need to check your inbox in case you missed something. Okay. All right. Cool. So there you go. Any other questions, you guys? Yeah, check emails from me, answer emails, and get your assignments done. And yeah, that's it. Just work on the training for the computer concepts exam. We'll work on Word next week when our brains aren't on two different things. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Unless you have any questions, good night. Night, Shane.
Good night.